Well, we know it's not 6
I know. Hey, everybody. I'm Jill. I am Agent Services for Keller Williams Cityside. I will be facilitating tonight, Saturday morning, and then next Tuesday as well. We have instructors from Cityside. And like I said, I'm taking roll as you guys all pop in. Before we get going, I will make sure I have everybody checked off. If I call out names, it's just because I didn't get you checked. If I don't call your name, don't freak out, okay? And I'll say that again. So CC Osborne RTL is teaching tonight, and we're going to be talking about your database and how important that is. So we're getting close, so hang tight.
Yeah.
Hey, so I've been trying to take attendance as you guys pop in. So if you do not hear your name, that means I've already checked you off. So don't freak out. I'm only calling the names of the people that I have not found on my list. Okay. Amy, wait, no. Bonnie, Frederick, are you here?
I'm here. It's Bonnie Friedrich.
Friedrich, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Brittany, Cockrell, Rel, Cockrell. Brittany here. There you are. Brittany, I see you. Okay. Enid Hunting. Sorry, I probably said that wrong. I'm not seeing her. Cassandra McConnell. Okay, moving on. Rachel Nicholson. Raymond Bastone. Tristan Brown.
Here.
Oh, awesome.
I'm here as well, Raymond Bastone.
Hey, Raymond, awesome. Ronald Smith.
Here.
Okay. All right. One more time. Rachel Nicholson. Olga. Is Olga here? Okay. I'm going to give you some rules and instructions. It looks like you guys are all awesome right now. In classes back in the spring when we were learning how to live in this virtual world, we had people driving in their cars and working other jobs when they were trying to do Ignite. So that's not a really good way to learn. So one of the things is you have to be on camera. You have to be in a place where you can be paying attention and you can be learning. Part of my job as facilitator is to monitor the screen to make sure you all are paying attention and that you're not like off somewhere else doing something else. So, and that is not our rule, that is GREC in order for you to get your CE credit. And all of our classes run through Outfront Education, which I'm sure they read you that initial letter on Tuesday about our school and the credit and all that good stuff. So hopefully you've already heard all this and this is not news to you. I am Jill Maratzis. I'm Director of Agent Services at Cityside. I'm going to be taking care of you guys facilitating tonight, Saturday morning, and next Tuesday with some of our awesome people here from Cityside teaching you all. What else? I need to take screenshots. So make sure your camera is on. Make sure I can see your lovely face because we have to have a screenshot to send to Greg to prove that you are all actually here. Smile. And then let me switch real quick to save that. Okay, now this computer's acting up on me. Screen print. What is going on? Why is this not? Sorry, you guys. Technical difficulties is usually not my issue. What did I do? It's not working at all. It's not. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a picture on my phone.
Okay, that's good.
So there's always a solution, right, you guys? So smile. Okay, and then I'm gonna switch to the other screen. problem solved.
So
Okay.
Rachel Ballard wasn't on the camera, she just remained here in the right hand.
Rachel Ballard, if you were there, I don't have a picture of you. And if you want credit for this class there, oh, hey, Rachel. So you registered for this class this time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, awesome. Okay, here, I'm gonna smile. Okay, cool. All right,
Other computer, because this one is kind of trash and you could clearly see I'm in my stepson's bedroom. So like, I'm trying to be a little more technologically savvy and join over here, but
you're good. Okay, as long as you can hear us and we can see your face. Okay, I'm going to introduce you to our team leader here at Cityside. Her name is Cece Osborne. She is amazing, and I'm a lucky girl because I get to work with her every day. So Cece is going to take care of you tonight.
Hey, everybody. And Jill is just being kind. I'm actually the lucky one because I could do nothing without her technology expertise. So, but one thing I can do is be happy to see all of you and try to keep you as engaged as is humanly possible over 3 hours of a virtual class. Is everybody so excited? So excited, right? All right. Well, I want you to be, because this is a great journey that you are taking. And tonight is one of the most important aspects of building your business. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the value of a database. But before we do that, talk to me a little bit about your missions that you did between Tuesday and today. When you wrapped up your class on Tuesday evening, you were given a mission sheet, right? To be able to do some self-study, maybe watch some videos, maybe do some individual exercises around playing within your tools in your toolkit. So by a show of hands, do I have people that actually did any of that? Right? Very good, Jennifer. Good job, Candace, Jacqueline. Some of you are certainly jumping out to tell me. Bevance, good.
Priscilla.
So those of you who took that initiative, I want to congratulate you and appreciate you for having just given that extra effort to your business, all right? Because that's what this is all about. You know, we're not sitting here to judge in any way, shape, or form. We were all new at one time, and we understand the challenges around trying to do this and dealing with life in general. So there is no judgment, but there certainly is encouragement for you to take advantage of following some of the mission, suggestions, because they will help you learn at a faster pace. And some of that doesn't take but just a few minutes. But I believe the mission that we started with from last week from Tuesday, was to start creating your contact data, right? And so that's what we're going to need to use as we move forward with the discussion tonight. How about who's proud of the results that they got from doing their 10-4? We got some people that are proud of their results. What's your 10-4? Tell me what that actually stands for. In your first class, did you not talk about your 10-4?
Selena's shaking her head.
Selena, you want to come off mute and brag on yourself for a minute?
Well, it's 10 contacts, adding, so reaching out to 10 people, adding 10 to the database, then writing 10 note cards. And then the last one is 10 previews.
That's right. Were you able to preview any homes, even if it was during, within the multiple listing service?
I did. I only did 5, but I still got familiar. So it wasn't my first time going to FMLS, but it made me a little bit more familiar with the system.
Very good. Very good. I'm very proud of you. Who else? Let me ask this question. Do you find value? Can you honestly see the purpose in why you're doing those activities? And this is comfortable. I see Donnie, he's shaking his head yes. I want you to at least see the value in these activities, They're not just busy work. They're not just course curriculum. They really have a lot of value in building your businesses. And, you know, you all came into this industry, you know, for a bigger purpose, right? And so all these activities that we are encouraging and prompting you to do and trying at a soft touch hold you accountable to, because it's all part of your future success. So I know, listen, I'm human, and you get through a class and 3 hours is a long time, and you've worked all day for some of you, and it's exhausting. And you go home and the last thing in the world you want to do is open a book or watch a video or practice a script, right? But this is temporary. This is a 3-week journey that's going to launch your career. And so while it may be challenging and tiresome, I really encourage you to take the initiative to do some of these things. You're on it, right? You all agree? You all see the value? All right. So let's talk a little bit about tracking those numbers, right? I mean, I'm sure that you touched on that in your first class, but I just want to revisit. One of the most important things out of class 1, in my opinion, is appreciating how the numbers will tell your story. And so I always called it creating your formula for success. And I'm not quite sure how Susan approached it. She's phenomenal, by the way. So I know you got great instruction through her. But one thing I just like to point back to is, you know, without not really tracking your activities, you're not going to ever really know where, first of all, your success is coming from, but more importantly, how you can step up your game, right? So let's say this year you accomplished so much. Well, if you don't know how you accomplished that, you're going to be challenged then to step that up when we look into goal setting for the next year. Would you agree? So tracking those numbers, and really it's just what Selena spoke to. You know, how many calls did I make today? How many contacts did I add to my database, right? Did I follow up each one of those phone calls with a handwritten note? Because what happens is, of course, it's time on the task over time. And so if you don't know how to track what time you're investing on what task, then you won't be able to create that formula that you know you can improve. Does that make sense? Does anybody have a question about that? Right? Isn't it what they say? If you don't know where you are, how are you going to get to where you're going? Well, it's kind of like that. So learning to track those numbers, and I don't care, you know, the goal may be 10, but like Selena, I only did 5, but you know what? She did 5, and that was better than she did the day before, right? And if she does 5 more, just think that through with me. If you really did focus on lead generation for whatever block of time, of course, we're going to go over a suggestive 3-hour block where you do a lot of activities with regard to lead generation. But at whatever time you can commit to your lead generation activities, you need to log that. I spent 2 hours today, right? And in that 2-hour period, I spoke to, 20 people. And in those 20 conversations, I was successful in getting 5 appointments. And now I'm going to go on these 5 appointments. And if my conversion ratio is good, then I can get 3 out of those 5, right? So now all of a sudden, that's 3 pieces of business. So now I know what my formula is. Wow, 2 hours, 20 contacts, 5 appointments, and I walked out with 3 pieces of business, either a listing agreement or a buyer brokerage agreement, right? So if I consistently track, I start seeing somewhat of an expectation around what the return on the investment of that time on those tasks is. Do you follow me? Do you like what you're hearing? Can you relate to that? I hope so, because we're going to talk about it some more, if you're okay with that. All right. So if we were in the classroom, we would be able to take a little break, do a little jig, maybe talk amongst each other. And so this virtual world is killing me. So I know it's not the best environment for all of you either. But hang in there and stay engaged, because again, this is a temporary journey that is going to be over in 3 weeks. And we want you to be prepared to go be a rock star after that. Okay. All right. So how many of you practiced any of that script that you went over in class 1, right? Look at Jennifer. She did. Very good. Jennifer, do you have any ahas or feedback that you took from that practice?
Well, for me, it's I'm trying to be very genuine, and so it feels right now still very scripted, and so I'm trying to figure out a way to make it feel like my own, so that it doesn't feel like the sleazy salesperson coming across.
I understand what you are saying. Oh, and I got a couple of things to speak to that. So hopefully I can help you a little bit, Jennifer. Anybody else have any kind of feedback after having tried to practice those scripts?
I recorded myself practicing the scripts, and then I listened to my voice just to see if I would be the type of agent that people would listen to or want to hear. So I learned a lot about my tone, and if it sounds too, like she said, coerced. So I've learned what I need to do to make it more natural, and what I need to add or take away to be something that somebody wants to listen to.
That is an excellent exercise, Janet. Good job. Oh, I know that was hard to swallow too. If you're like me, I don't want to see myself on camera, and I certainly don't want to hear my voice.
I hate how I sound on technology.
Yeah, but that was a great exercise for sure. So let's speak about what Jennifer said, because that is so valid, right? So many times we resist the scripts because they don't sound authentic, right? And that makes you feel like a salesperson. Something that's really important for you to try to embrace. And it's hard when you're new, and hopefully you'll get better and better over time. But so many of us, when we think of calling into our sphere or into our database, to our relationships, and when we are offering, when we ask them if they know anybody that's buying or selling, or are they interested in buying or selling, we feel like we are imposing. Would you agree with that? You kind of like feel like you're invading their privacy and asking them to support your business, right? What has to happen is you have to have a mind shift, and you have to realize it's not about them helping you. It's about them allowing you to help them, right? So I always dummy it down to say, when we walk into a store, what does the clerk do first, right off the bat, right? They say, "May I help you?" And what do we say? "No, I'm just looking," right? And then in a few minutes, what? We're looking for the clerk, because now we need them, right? And so we didn't reject the clerk. We just reject the timing of their offer, right? And so we have to get comfortable with not having an expectation around how they respond, as much as we need to know that we are coming from an authentic place of really offering our help, because most people really need our help in buying and selling real estate. I don't, we know more than they know. We have experiences they don't have. They really do need guidance. And I don't care if that's the first time home buyer, or if it is the experienced, seller that has had to move 15 times. Everybody does need somebody that is vested in them getting the right result that they're looking for. And so when we become confident and competent in knowing that we bring value, we will no longer feel uncomfortable, right? Because when we have good news to tell somebody, do we hesitate? And if you really believe that you have the ability to help somebody, or that you can bring them information and good news that they wouldn't otherwise have access to, wouldn't that feel good to share it with them? So that's the mind shift that has to take place. I'm not asking you to support my business. I'm asking you to allow me to help you if you should need my help at this time. Make sense? It really will change everything once you become confident that you can bring them great service. And you're going to get there, because that's what this training is all about, right? Is helping you believe that you're good at what you do and that you can help people make good decisions for themselves.
And I just want to add, I think that's important because just like Jennifer says, she doesn't want to be known as pushy or like the CZ salesperson. And even though our license clearly says state that we're a salesperson, but coming from a mindset of service, that helps me personally, because it is what we're doing. We're offering a service,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Jill and I were speaking earlier today with regard to scripts, because everybody struggles with them at some level. There is a program within Keller Williams. It's called BOLD. Many of you may have already been introduced to that. Business, a Life by Design is what the acronym was intended to reflect. And in BOLD, we learn an approach to making those calls and breaking into that conversation. And there is an acronym that we work from, and it's called FORD, F-O-R-D. So when you call somebody, you initially say, how's the family? That's your F, right? How's your family? And then the O is, and how's your work going? Are you still at so-and-so? Or, did you ever make that move? Did you get that, promotion? And then what you been doing for fun, recreation, R, right? And then after they, we can go into whatever thing we remember about them. That's where we're going to learn so much about tonight, is how important keeping a database of the things that we know that they were involved in. When we talk to them one time, they may say, yeah, we're fixing to go on, this, Hawaiian, vacation. We're about to go on this Alaskan cruise. Well, you make notes of that, right? And then how warm and fun is it when you go back and touch that person again to say, so did you make the trip? How was it? Tell me about it, right? So then recreation, and then the last is dreams, right? So, maybe they have shared something with you that is, a big why for them, or, that dream of buying that boat. Did you ever get the boat, right? Stuff like that. And when you use that type of approach, after you've addressed all those things that are very personal and very caring, right? Then it's a lot easier to say, well, listen, I was just, making sure that I couldn't be of any service to you, right? Do you have any plans for buying or selling anytime soon? Or, do you know anybody that might be? Do you see what I mean? Make it about developing a relationship, and then it's okay to bring in the work piece there. But it's all coming from contribution. One is we really care to know all that stuff. And then the other is that we really would love to be of service to them. Does that help you a little bit, Jennifer? Right? Good. All right. Well, let's talk about today's lesson, getting your head in the game, right? And so we're going to talk about the value of, I'm sorry, dear, say again.
Hi, so I was supposed to get the PDF, like the downloadable version of the class, but I don't know where to find it at.
I'll send it to her. Elise, Jill's sending it to you now.
Thank you.
So what we're going to talk about tonight is building that database, because this is so important. And in the first class, you had kind of talked around making a commitment to add 200 new contacts to your database over the course of your Ignite experience. Does anybody remember that? Well, that is what our goal would be, right? And so a way we want to approach it tonight is how do we create, how do we stay in touch, and how do we create a continued branding of ourselves in those people that we know, right? And they use an example in the material with regard to how important data is, right? So people, I shop at Kroger for the most part. I really do like those gas points, right? But what they're doing, it's very, very, purposeful on their part, right? Because they know my shopping habits, they know the things I like, and then of course they send me coupons for them, they give me the gas points. What is all of that about, right? It's to make me come back, right? It's to make me appreciate. Say again?
I was saying keeping you engaged and keeping you there.
That's right. It keeps you coming back, right? And so that's kind of what we need to be doing within our sphere, right? We want to become a place that they keep coming back to. And one thing you're going to enjoy in this business is, because of the nature of what we do, we develop a lot of relationships with different vendors, construction contractors, landscapers, pool companies, waterproofing companies, inspectors, termite and pest control. These are all the things that are all part of, helping someone when they are purchasing a home. We can make these recommendations and things like that. So we have an ongoing opportunity to help anybody who has a home, or that, is looking for a home, of course, or who is improving their home. And so what we want to do is to remind them that they can continually come back to us, not just to help them buy or sell, but to also help them with other things that might be part of the home maintenance or home repair. And so we talk about how are we going to focus on maybe targeting some marketing to a specific group. So we're going to talk about the marketing campaigns, target marketing. We've got a lot of different things that are going to come to play, but none of it starts making any sense to us until we actually have a database of contacts, right? You get the importance of that, right? I mean, we can't even begin to think about how we're going to categorize them or group them or tag them until we actually have a group. So who has actually started accumulating? In the old days, when I got in the business a million years ago, the first thing they would tell us to do, we didn't have technologies like we have today. And they would say, you sit down and you start making a list of everybody that you know, that your family knows, that your kids know, that were past co-workers, that you went to school with, everybody you can start thinking of, right? Making 100 names of people that could potentially become your foundation to your database. Right now, you have an advantage because you walk around with a database. Who knows what that is? That's right, Bonnie, it's your phone. That is your database. Now, naturally, it's not as robust as it would need to be, right? Because typically we just have a name and a number. What we want is home addresses. We want email addresses. We'd love to have birth dates. We'd love to have anniversary dates, right? We want to really build out the information that we have on everybody, so it gives us more reasons to touch them, right? And so transferring all that information into your tools that you have available to you through the command platform, which Jill is going to bless us with at the end of our class. We hopefully will have some time allotted, and she's going to show you some tricks within how you're going to start building that database in command. Would that make you happy? And the crowd said, yeah. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about what a database is, okay? So I'm going to read it straight from the materials because there's no better way to define it. A tool that centrally stores customer and prospect contact information, which is regularly updated with new details and events. It can be organized and sorted as needed and is continually added to in order to increase your business. Everybody got a clear understanding of what we're talking about when Cece says database? It's this tool that stores your customer and prospect contact information. It can be updated, it can be organized, it can be sorted as needed, and is continually being added to increase your audience of potential clients. Okay? And when we put that into a platform like Command, and of course your materials, we have to say, it makes reference to a tool called eEdge. eEdge was the technology that we had in place a couple of years back. We've been building that Command platform, and now what is referenced as eEdge would just translate to mean command. And Command, of course, has all the abilities that eEdge had, and then some more. But when we transfer that data into our Command platform, now we have a system of automation. And so the intention is we're going to build that database of clients' information, and then we're going to create some marketing plans that we're going to attach to those contacts to where we automate a drip touch campaign. And this is going to be, items of value. It may include a monthly newsletter. It could be an article that you think is worthy of someone with desires to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. You're going to call into your database. It's going to be what we call a smart plan. It's a plan that you build out within your Command system that automates a lot of the touches that we're going to need to be doing into that database, and then gives us reminders of things that we need to be doing, like making the phone call or doing what we call a pop buy. We'll talk about those things a little bit later. But your database is your most valuable asset. And it's important that you are, it says, feed it every day, meaning that you should be adding new prospective clients into that database every day, or as often as is possible, so that you have a continuum of contacts being built in there. Because when you read the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary tells us in the book that for every 50 people you have in your database that you market to 12 times a year, you can reasonably expect to close one sale. So they use an example of if you had 2,500 contacts, which seems like a lot, but if you're lead generating consistently and you're hitting those numbers that are suggested for adding contacts and having conversations, it's not far-fetched at all. And if you had 2,500 people in your database,
Sorry.
that's all right, and you were using this rule of thumb that for every 50 that I marketed to consistently, I could get one piece of business. Well, that's 50 transactions. let me tell you, 50 transactions in a year is a good year, right? And it's doable when you do the time on the task and you build that database and you nurture it and you feed it. Because the whole purpose of that database is to give us, you know, a more purposeful reasons to stay in contact with those people. Because what I've always said is that people are always buying and selling real estate, whether it's a good market or whether it's a bad market. And life events are what prompt needs for real estate services. And life is happening to all of us every day. So if you have your database and you are continually staying top of mind with the people in that database, when their life event happens and prompts them to need real estate services, they will know who to call. They won't have to go looking for an agent. They will know, you know, like Jennifer, she's been so loyal to us. She has stayed in touch. She sends us items of value. She updates us on market trends. She's been so loyal. Let's give her a call, right? And that would be true for any and all of you. If we do this right, our database will provide us a wonderful, wonderful business for a long time. Any questions? Somebody asked me a question.
I can share a quick story that happened to me today in my grocery store.
That'd be great, Donnie. Share it with us.
So this, in my nearby grocery store, this nice lady helped me out, and I pulled a business card out of my pocket and said, "Let me hand you my business card." And as she took it, I said, "I don't know where you live, but if you've ever thought about moving closer to this area, I live right around the corner. I'm in real estate. I'd be happy to help you." And she says, "Well," and I live in Marietta. She lives downtown. So she took my car, and I could tell the wheels were kind of turning in her head a little bit. So I have her number, added her to the database today, and I go in that store 2 or 3 times a week. So I'll look for her next time I go. So.
Very good. Well, what the magic that you just shared, Donnie, was that you got her contact information. You know, we so often are quick to give our card, but then who's in control of the follow-up, right? So what's more important, actually, we've had agents use a strategy of, oh my gosh, I don't have a card on me. Could I get your name and number, right? Because now who's in control of the follow-up, right? So, no, you know, the worst thing isn't not having a business card. The worst thing is not getting their information, right? Because then you can do as you did, Donnie. You went back, you put them in the database. You add them to your smart plan, and then there begins a chain of communication that's going to continually touch that person and keep you top of mind as it relates to real estate. See how easy that is?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly you can, Brittany.
I think I'm less nervous about making new contacts as I am as uploading all my friends into the database and all of a sudden starting to hit them with stuff. Like, how do you kind of, I guess, smooth that process so all of a sudden they're not just getting stuff out of the blue real estate? I mean, they know obviously that I just became a realtor, but my fear is like I'm going to upload them into Command and then start sending them stuff or like doing these touch points, and then they're going to feel like I'm hitting them up for business.
And that
Like,
is so, that's a valid concern, Brittany. So thank you for bringing that up. Everybody's feeling some degree of that, I'm sure. And my answer to you, number one, is don't overthink that, right? Because not everybody thinks the way we think, and not everybody would receive that the same way as you're worried for, right? So don't overthink it. I can tell you that from my own experience. But the reality is, if you set this up, if you sent out an announcement, you said, obviously they all know that I've become a realtor. How did they know that?
Well, like my closest friends, like they knew, I mean, right away, because I signed up for school and told them, and we hang out a lot. And then a lot of other people have found out because I post on Facebook or Instagram and social media. So a lot of people have seen it that way.
So that's wonderful, right? And so the best thing most of you could do, all of you could do, is be purposeful in announcing that you've launched your real estate career, right? Because if you were to have done an announcement or a post that said, you know, please join me in my excitement of launching my real estate career. And then you say, I have access to information and materials that you might find valuable, right? And so I'd love to add you to my distribution. You know, give them up front, tell them up front that, you know, this is what you're doing and why you're doing it, so that they don't have to think. They can unsubscribe, or they could say, Brittany, hey, listen, back it off. I'm tired of getting your stuff, right? Okay, well then that's a friend, right? Because they're being honest and telling you, you know, the truth about that. But for the most part, people aren't going to do that. I'll tell you a personal experience that I've just had that Jill has helped me through a little bit is we started a new campaign. I've never been big on social media. I love hugging you and being in the room with you. And I just always felt like that just so lessened the relationship when we resorted to electronic and hiding behind, you know, the Facebook and stuff. But I've recently had reason because of some work related things that we're experimenting with. And all of a sudden I've had a Facebook page for as long as I can remember, maybe well over 10 years. I occasionally would get on it. I loved seeing everybody else's news and all of that. I'd never posted anything, scared to death of it, if you want to know the truth. And all of a sudden, we wanted to start posting some things to my Facebook, and we wanted to start posting to our business page, Facebook. And I had that conversation with Jill and my team here and said, you know what, I feel so sad, right? Because I want to do this, but I've never posted anything. And guess what? The first thing I'm going to start posting is going to be work related. You feel me, Brittany? So I'm saying the same thing, right? But you know what? That's why I said, don't overthink it. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it, and then I'll worry about what shows up, right? If I get kickback or pushback or, you know, get ribbed, I can take it, right? But not a thing. I haven't got, I mean, and that was so surprising to me. It's because I have a lot of friends that would love to say, well, look at you. You know, we've wanted you to be on Facebook for years, and now all of a sudden you're advertising to me, or you're, you know, promoting something, right? And not a word. So I think we worry for things unnecessarily. I think that there's a level of acceptance around all of that in the world today anyway. And I would just do it and not worry, and then see what happens, right? You can always stop it.
Can I share?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want to hear everybody. Who was first? Nikita, you want to go?
Yeah, so over Thanksgiving break, what we did in Keller Williams Buckhead, they like posted a post that said Happy Thanksgiving, and then it had Keller Williams Buckhead on it. So out of the 606 people in my phone, I sent that along with my website and just said Happy Thanksgiving. Out of 600 people, I only got about 5 responses, but those 5 people led to me showing home for 3 people. So like with that, just like, hey, you know, everyone sends Thanksgiving messages. And I'm gonna do the same thing for Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's Day. So yeah.
Perfect. That's a great addition to the conversation.
So to piggyback off of that, I actually had a friend of mine. It was kind of like we would talk every day, but our phone call started turning into me talking real estate. And it was like, he was like, well, every time you call me, you're gonna talk about real estate now. Like you so like gung-ho about me doing it. And I'm like, well, the thing is before I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. So now that I have the knowledge for you to yourself to be a home buyer, I have to share that with you. Our conversations are gonna change.
You got her the cutest thing, John.
Like real estate is not just for me, but it's also to help the people that I'm connected
I don't know
to.
how much you wanted to spend, but I could give you money towards it.
Mute Bonnie. Bonnie, we can hear you, dear.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
You can?
It's a kid. We did. Yeah, we can. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry, Elise, though. It did kind of interrupt what you were saying to us, dear. Did you get to finish?
So basically, I would like what you said. It's kind of like not to think too much into it, because like I was saying, I had a friend when we would talk every day, but I was pretty much turning our conversations into him becoming a homeowner, and he didn't understand it. But for me, it's like, well, now that I have the education, I have to give you the education. You know, so even if you think our conversations are just based off of that, it's something to manifest your dream. So hey, like you said, don't overthink it because they're going to get the information from somebody.
And Elise, you're absolutely right. But even bigger, what you say is just what we were talking about. You turned it into being all about him. It's not about you. It's about helping him appreciate he could be a homeowner, right? And you could make it happen for him. So that's very good. Very
Can I
good.
add something?
Certainly.
If you don't say anything, they will forget about you. And the first thing that really stung me was when a friend called me and said, hey, I forgot you were an agent, and it just stung me to death. But what I started out with is, I asked my friends, I was like, hey, I've gotten my real estate license and I know we support each other and I'm really trying to grow my business. Can I count on you to support me and put me in connection with someone I can help? So when you put it back on them, can I count on you to support me? They're like, okay. And then when I go around my friends, I give them business cards. I don't throw up on them per se, but I keep myself in front of them. And if you don't, they're going to think about somebody else. And just like I think it was Elsie and another young lady said, when you send them a text message, you don't have to send them a text message all the time, but I do stuff on social media. If they never like my post, guess what? They've seen my story. I do a lot of stuff in Canva, or I just, send them something to say, hey, join me for coffee. And I'll just kind of get to know them, but I'm always saying, who do you know that I can help? And I did that yesterday and got a call from 2 people. And it said, hey, my friend told me to call you because you're the bomb.com in real estate. And I was like, who are they? So I can thank them for, connecting us. So just speak up and they'll let you know if they want you to stop.
Yeah, that's so very good. It's so true and so encouraging for others to hear that, because the whole gist of it is they will, people will forget what you do for a living. I mean, we have a lot of close relationships, all of us, with people that if we were quizzed, we would say, and what do they do for a living? And you'd be like, well, I think he's in some kind of, pharmaceutical or what. We don't really know necessarily what people do. So we have to keep reminding people that we are their resource for real estate. They do the surveys through the National Association of Realtors every year, and they continually get statistics back that say that they reflect in your materials. They go back to 2014, but I know for a fact that even as recent as 2019, there were a little similar statistic. But it says 88% of clients would use their agent again, but only 12% do. Why do you suppose that is?
They didn't keep in touch.
That's exactly right. They don't know how to get in touch with you. If we don't stay in touch with them, then when they need us, when that life event happens and they all of a sudden need help, they're not going to start, trying to find you. But if you have stayed engaged and stayed on top of mind with them as being their resource for real estate, they know exactly who to call. And so And we also know that people move. You know, NAR, it used to be about every 9 to 10 years. And over a period of time, it was much more frequent than that. But, you know, you can count anywhere from 7 to 10 years, people are going to be making some type of move. And, you know, that's a long time, of course. But if you have an automated system and you have had a plan around how you're going to continue to touch these people over the course of time, you will be there when they are ready to make that move. If you don't do that, they will use someone else because they've lost touch with you and they don't even know how to necessarily rekindle the relationship. Right?
And our mentor, me and Donnie's mentor, he mentioned on day one, he was like, don't be a secret agent. And that really made an impression on me. You know, sometimes we're always afraid, like you say, to, you know, stay on top of mind on what we're doing. But do you want to be a secret agent or do you want to make money? You know?
Exactly. No, we really do have to be, it's the hardest piece of the business, to be quite honest, is that lead generation piece. And yet we have no business if we don't generate it. And, you know, I will tell you a true story around what happened back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, when we went through the last really harsh economic shift. Of course, real estate took a beating just like every other industry during that particular time frame. But I can tell you, up until that time, we had about a 14-year run of a really healthy real estate market. And agents got very comfortable with their database providing them with repeat and referral business. The market was healthy, the economy was healthy, people were buying and selling, and agents' phones would literally just ring, right? Well, then we go into this brutal, abrupt shift in the economy. And the agents that had gotten so comfortable with answering the phone, we called them the order takers, as opposed to the lead generators, guess what? The wheels came off their business bus for sure. And so it was very, very hard for them to reinvent themselves, to start lead generating again. And so this is something that you can't take for granted. It is part of what we do in this business. And yes, when you're new, it is the most challenging piece. Because it's going to take you into an uncomfortable place. But, you know, one of the things we say at Keller Williams is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because when you are uncomfortable, you are growing. And if you're not uncomfortable, then you're not growing, right? You're complacent. So, except that, you know, it's a necessary thing that you have to do, and we're going to learn to do it. And hopefully we're going to find that it's not as scary or as intimidating as it appears to be, right? So what is our daily plan for lead generation? Did you talk in your first class about time blocking for the lead generation activities? So, you know, they'll say in Keller Williams that you need a 3-hour block of time to do lead generation. Do you think that that means on the phone for 3 hours? No, it doesn't. There's a sequence of things that you have the opportunity to do there. You want to be able to, you know, identify who you're going to target that day, right? And it may be that you have set up a system in your database that alerts you that today we're going to call this list of people or that. But you've got to have your list, and then you also have to have, you know, a conversation planned out as to what you want to say, and then you want to immediately follow up with doing the handwritten note card. So it's a multiple of exercises, and sometimes we confuse lead generation with meaning just on the phone. Lead generation comes in a lot of shapes and sizes, right? You can do social media post, you could write a blog, you could handwritten notes, a lot of them. You could, make phone calls to your database, or you could make phone calls to the people that you haven't met yet. So I hope that we are realizing the daily commitment to lead generation and the value of it. And you're already thinking for yourself a plan around how you would want to do that. Gary Keller says that we do the most challenging things first thing in the morning, because that's typically when we have our most energy and our strongest determination. He says we really don't have what's called willpower. We just have more power in the morning to stay committed to the activities that we want to do. So his suggestion has always been his energy plan is he wakes, he meditates, he exercises, he spends time with his family, he eats his breakfast, and he then goes right into lead generation. So you'll have a lot of opportunity to be building that. I think you did in class 1 attempt to do a little bit of a time blocking schedule, and you saw how you would maybe orchestrate those activities, right? So I think we're getting close, Jill, maybe to wanting to show them the
You see, I can tell you something I did within the last week that changed cold calling into a warm call, if you want to hear what I did. Now, I'm brand new at this. I was in a completely different field for the last 24 years, as most of my friends know. But where we started with Atlanta Perimeter, they had a Facebook announcement welcoming me to the team just last week, right before Thanksgiving. And it got lots of comments, lots of likes. So I reached out to every one of these dozens of people because they knew, they recognized that I just made a change. And I said, hey, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for recognizing my career change on Facebook. When you're ready to make a move or know someone who is, please let me know. And it was just a warm call because they already knew I'd made the change. So yeah. Brittany, I don't know if your office has done that for you, but that's a suggestion. So it worked for me.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I got lots of responses back as well.
Very good. Anybody else want to contribute something? So we're going to take a minute here and flip over, and Jill's going to launch a video that we want to share with you, the benefits of an organized database. And then we'll talk about it a little bit, okay?
Here we have Nancy. She is using her database to lead generate. Because her contacts are organized, she is able to make effective calls that yield results.
Hello, Mr. Smith. This is Nancy from Keller Williams Realty. How are you today?
You can see that because she took time to build, organize, and nurture her database, her business is growing and becoming profitable.
Okay, so you're not moving. Is there anyone else who is? Well, I wanted to talk to you about the inquiry you put in online for a new home. Yes. Well, can we meet at 2 o'clock on Tuesday? I'll put you down in my books. Thank you so much.
Here is Nancy. She doesn't think she needs a database. She has a system. Watch as she tries to lead generate.
Hello, Mr. Smith. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Johnson. This is Nancy. We met a couple weeks ago. You moved a month ago. Gosh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, is there another time we can talk?
As you can see, an organized database is your most valuable business asset. A powerful database produces productive and predictable leads. The results speak for themselves.
Okay, which Nancy do you want to be? You can see, though, how streamlined everything can be when you are organized and utilizing the resources that you have available to you through your Keller Williams, resources of technology and all. You can become very streamlined and then very efficient and effective at managing your database and communicating with the database. And again, Jill's going to show us some of those things towards the ends of the class, just to give you a peek behind the curtain as to what all that could actually look like for you as you build your database. All right, we're going to start talking now about the database itself, and we're going to talk about, there are 3 steps that you will be taking while working within that information. And the first is, what is a contact, right? What's defined, and as it's defined in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it begins with the people that you know. We call those METs, right? These are people who you know and who know you. So this is that sphere of influence, right? This includes family, friends, neighbors, former coworkers, schoolmates, roommates, teammates. This group is your source of new business, repeat business, and referral business. And then we move into the group of haven't mets. These are people who also don't know you yet. And you will connect with them to ask about helping with their real estate needs. This group is a source of new business, and you'll learn more about how to find these later in the course, okay? And then, of course, we've got referrals. Referrals are those people who have been referred to us by typically our METs, but could be haven't METs as well. And these are the ones that we want to gather names, addresses, telephone numbers, and all of their contact information. Referrals may be hot leads, or they may not be. And we're going to be able to differentiate between what is a hot lead, which means they're planning to move in the very near future or immediately. And then we have the categories that move them into maybe it's a 3 to 6 month plan before they'd be ready to make a move. So we can talk about farming. You hear that term a little bit. It's not as popular as it has been over the years because we've gotten away from print advertising. But the truth is, I've known many a very successful agent that has chosen to use farming. And this means that you're making a commitment to a geographic area that you intend to market to, and typically, occasionally at least, in a printed format, postcard, some type of market trends, information, things of that nature, but that you're going to send to every month for the course of about 12 to 18 months. And this is really branding yourself to a very specific area. Let's say it was a very large community and you had decided that that was going to be your preferred territory, and you were going to spend marketing money in there, and you would then launch a campaign to where they would see a postcard with your face on it every month. Maybe it's a newsletter that has, a lot of different information in it. But in some way or form, you were landing on their kitchen counter once a month by using this direct mail or this farming effort. The good news there is it does typically generate a lot of business. It's just a long-term investment, and it does take at least 12 to 15 to 18 months for you to really get some traction. But this is talking here about what are our sources of haven't mets, right? And so farming is one, right? Your neighborhood or geographic farm. But then it could be your sports team or your children's sports team. It could be the house of worship rosters, your church, club or organization memberships that you belong to, LinkedIn contacts where you may not have a personal relationship, but through mutual acquaintances, you would have those as potential clients. Of course, all your social media platforms. And then, of course, again, not your neighborhood, but maybe focusing on another geographic area for farming. But these are the way you're going to generate. There's only really about 6 or 7 ways to generate business. Of course, with, your social medias and your online presence, we've expanded that a little bit to maybe make it 8 or 9 ways to lead generate. But most of it is either going to be through a direct mail campaign, or it's going to be through calling for sale by owners. It's going to be for calling expired listings. You could become the master of the open house. That has proven to build a lot of businesses. A lot of databases begin real well from open houses, and maybe some new construction relationships. We teach on all of those things, and you'll learn more about each one of them. But the most successful lead generation activity is the one that you'll do. You can pick and choose any one of those that I've just named. And if you did it consistently and, systematically, they would yield business over time. And so it's really identifying the one that you're most comfortable with, or that you start seeing the greatest return on the investment, right? Your materials do reflect back to some things that are of under the old e-edge, or that were part of the old technology. And it makes reference to your KW app. We now have the consumer app that you find within Command, and Jill will speak to that a little bit when she introduces you to the other technology resources. Any questions as we move on? What is your biggest
I do have a question.
Okay.
As we're going through this workbook and there are some blanks, how are we to put in the answers, or are we just taking notes as you're discussing certain pages that may have not been shown on the screen?
You're taking your notes, of course, but if you want anything, if you want me to go back and reiterate anything, Janet, that you didn't catch through my conversation, pretty much, for instance, like we could go back and say, what is targeted, a targeted marketing campaign? And, it identifies a specific segment of an overall market, right? You're identifying one segment of an overall market, and you're tailoring a marketing plan to maybe what might be a common habit or occurrence within that particular area, so that you would then regularly be able to market to it, and it would be of interest to the people, right? So I see what you're saying. I'm speaking in more generalities, but you can just take your notes from what I'm saying. There's really no specific, the blanks are not going to be part of your test. So I don't want you to worry for that, right?
Okay, that's what I was looking for clarification on. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good question. All right. We go into more conversation on page 23 in your materials about what type of content we want to be gathering from our contacts, so that we can get, you see their name, address, emails, phone numbers, social media links. We want to know if we can get the information about their marital status, or how many children, and do they have pets, and of course they rent or do they own? How long have they been in their current home? These are things that you'll want to find for all the continuum of maybe the potential ways you could help them moving forward. If you found something of value that you would want to send to them about, maybe for instance, the value of understanding the rent to own scenario, right? I mean, or the comparable of what it's like to own versus renting, right? Let's see what we're talking about. Let's see. Well, so it starts immediately talking about building your database, and that's what Jill's going to show you when we get to the end of our session, about building it. Actually, it's suggesting here that you use, a paper format just while we're getting things established. But I want to talk to you a little bit about that because, the technology that we have in place is to help you and to create more of a auto type version of being able to stay on top of all these activities. And I love to always tell the story because Gary Keller, our owner, of course, he'll tell you that he started his business using a recipe box and index cards, right? And he grew a very prosperous business as a young man, of his first 3 years in the business. And to this day, he still has some, attachment to that manual version of how he managed his contacts. So I share that with you to say that you don't have to have a sophisticated way of doing it. You just have to have a systemized way of doing it. And of course, now that we have all the technologies that we have, it would be foolish not to take full advantage of all of the tools and resources that then become easier to execute because we have our database built out in Command. But in your books, it talks about adding those contacts. And it's suggesting that in the meantime, until you maybe get automated or you get more comfortable with building it out in the technologies, that you can use a sheet of paper just as easily, right? You don't have to, in other words, don't not do it. Don't get ready to get ready kind of thing. Just do it, right? And figure out a system as, elementary as it might need to be for a minute until we can transfer it into a more systemized electronic version. Some of us, we do get hung up. It's like I can't make any phone calls until I know everything I need to know. I can't, start, compiling my contacts because I haven't learned how to use Command, or I haven't, and we build a lot around getting ready to get ready. And trust me, the longer you do that, the longer you will do that because it's putting off the inevitable. We often say there's a big difference between being busy and being productive. And sometimes we get, bogged down in making ourselves busy with all this busy work and worry for not having it all together. And we miss our greater opportunity to just jump into production. Right? Everybody kind of get that? So you're not going to know everything. And after all my years in the business, I don't know everything, but we have resources and you have resources, and we will find out the answer. And there's no shame in not knowing everything. Nobody expects you to know everything, whether you're new or whether you're experienced, either way, right? So really and truly, there are no excuses to do what it is that we need to do. So once we get our database together, then we want to kind of classify the different groups that might be in our database. So after we speak with a contact and we ask a few questions about their needs, the next step is to classify them according to their needs. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Or are they both? Are they a member of a particular group that you're targeting? Is it a neighborhood? Is it a religious group? Is it a sports team? Organizing your database will enable you to better service your customers and find new business, right? For example, if you classify your contacts using types like buyer, seller, or buyer/seller, agent, renter, investor, it helps you then be able to more purposefully target market to the specific groups and provide them items of value that's more specific to their area of interest, right? So if you classify them in groups such as, it's a business relationship, it's a school relationship, sports, it came from an open house, that type of thing, then you can better serve them with more targeted materials that might be more pertinent to where you met them and what they may be involved in. Okay. So the main lesson here is to just make sure that you have the ability to classify and group your contacts, and that in the long run, that can become very beneficial to you, because you might want to send one group, one piece that wouldn't be really an acceptable piece to someone that might be in another group. And so making sure you divide that is important. And then we want to qualify, right? So qualifying is your next priority, because it's to assess how ready and motivated the lead is. So I spoke earlier about whether it's a hot lead. That means you want to act on it immediately, and you want to call and set the appointment now before another agent gets in front of you. And this is going to help you prioritize what you do each day with in that block of lead generation time, right? We wouldn't want to be wasting our time in doing those activities around a group that are probably 6 months out from buying or selling, and neglect those that are hot and ready to go. So identifying the urgency around whether they're buying or selling helps us identify how we prioritize the attention that we give to the different contacts. That makes sense, right? It helps you spend your time wisely. So when you qualify them right away, you see clearly what their immediate need is, and then you can adjust your schedule to accommodate that, right? So now it's suggesting that you're going to go into your database, and help me, everybody. Has anybody even started creating a list of contacts? Has anybody really started? Okay, good, Selena. Good, good, good. I'm proud of you. Lots of you have jumped out and are really beginning to build that list. I can't tell you how important that is, and I'm very pleased to see so many of you have done that. How many of you have actually started making any type of call, started to have a conversation? Layla has, yes. Good, good, very good. I'm very proud of you. And so what we want to do is keep that momentum. And so what we're suggesting then is, if you've got the beginnings of that list, you want to start qualifying and classifying and possibly grouping those contacts. Now that you've been introduced to the value of why you would want to do that, that's a great exercise for you to spend some time in doing. It may challenge you at first, because you might want to put them in all the groups, right? I met them at church, but they actually play on my sports team. And I also, know them from something else. Like, it's like, okay, well, pick one, right? Where will you most remember them, right? So being human in all of this is part of the game. But that's a great exercise, and I really encourage you to do it. And then once you identify what you want your groups to be, or what you want your classifications to be, then every time you have a new contact, you add them right into that group. So the initial exercise is getting all that set up, but then from there on out, it'll be easier, right? Right. All right. Let's see where we are now. So we're talking about the campaigns, and these are what we now call SMART plans, right? Because a campaign is just a systemized plan around how you want to touch the people in your database. So it says, now that you've put contacts in your database spreadsheet and classified and qualified each one of them, it's easy to put them on a targeted marketing plan. Here at Keller Williams, it's called a touch campaign. And it is, because we're going to talk about, how we have systemized what we call touches. Touch means that we made contact with them, we sent them an item of value, we just engaged with them, whether it was reciprocated or not. It's us touching them in one way or another. And so they're targeted and they're focused on a primary audience for a specific product or service. Those and targeted to those who are most likely to respond, right? So evaluate your organized database and identify a primary audience who are most likely to respond to your targeted marketing efforts. So example would be newlyweds, right? Families with children, college age kids, seniors, right? Those types of targeted touch campaigns are very beneficial and purposeful because they cater to what the person's individual interest might be at that particular stage of their life or their career. So it says Keller Williams Realty has developed touch campaigns and included them in your e-edge system. Replace that now with command, because there you have what we now are calling smart plans. And Jill will introduce that to you in just a few minutes. So here's what happens. We meet somebody and we immediately want to put them on an 8x8, right? Anybody have a clue what an 8x8 is? It means that we are going to connect with them 8 times over 8 weeks. It's a rather intense, really bonding of the relationship and of the contact. So we're going to connect with them for the first time in your role as a Keller Williams associate. Everyone you know or meet should go into an 8x8. It's a series of 8 touches in 8 weeks, and it includes a combination of, might be a personal visit, might be a phone call, might be an item of value. These are what we call you see it says drop off or sent. You'll learn that a very effective way of touching the people in your client base, especially if they have been past clients within the last year, we do what we call pop buys. And you might have some type of trinket, like for instance, in the spring, it could be, your business card stapled to a packet of flower seeds. At Halloween, it could be a small pumpkin. These are just things that, you think of that you could just pop by and say, hey, look, I was in the area. I thought about you. I just wanted to give this to you. Those things are very, very effective. They can be a little time consuming naturally because you're having to make a lot of house calls. But I will tell you, people really appreciate that you took that extra mile. So that's a marketing strategy that a lot of people have incorporated in their touch campaign. And of course,
Cece,
yes, dear.
I had a question. What is the law concerning putting things in people's mailboxes?
You're not supposed to put anything in anybody's mailbox.
Okay.
So if you have the ability to, tape it to the outside or put it on the post, but we
can do that.
Yeah, we cannot put anything in the mailbox.
Okay, but you could hook it onto like the flag or something.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. And you'll learn that, a lot of agents prefer to do door knockers, so they'll be like, that you can hang on a doorknob or something of that nature. It depends, of course, on what your pop-by gift would be. But a lot of times they put it at the front door or put it on the front step, that type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
No, good question for everybody. So then once we have them, we've gotten them through the 8 weeks. Now we move automatically into what we call the 33 touch. And the 33 touch is we're going to touch them 33 times over a 12-month period, right? So when you take the 8x8 and then you add the 33, you have now touched them, somebody do the math for me, 40, what'd you say, Jill? 41 times over the course of, a 12-month period. And, you know, just, you can see that that is a, you know, that's going to make an impact, right? They're going to start really seeing the brand develop around you and your real estate services. So the series of 33 touches in a year could include a combination of mailings, letters, cards, emails, newsletters, the drop-offs, as we said, 8 thank you or thinking of you cards, 3 phone calls, 4 personal observation cards. This could be for like their birthday, their anniversaries, Mother's Day. That's why all that information is so helpful to have within your database, right? Of all these things that are important to them, because it just gives you more opportunity to warmly touch them, and it be meaningful to them, right? You remembered, and people care about that, right? I'll never forget when my boys were young, I would go to the doctor and my doctor would always ask me, how are the boys, right? You know, and he would say, well, tell me about what Matthew's doing. What's Jeffrey doing? And I was so impressed. I'd be like, how in the world could he possibly remember, you know, all that? Well, of course, on the front of the file, he had all that information, right? And so that's no different. And it really does have a very positive impact. People actually believe that you care about them as people and not just as a business opportunity, right? And then, of course, holiday cards, you get New Year's, you get Christmas cards, you might get a Thanksgiving card, right? Any of the other holidays that you could, you know, use as a warm touch. 4th of July is a good, you know, just posting for social media's sake and, you know, those types of things. So it's all about what we said to begin with, is staying engaged, staying in relationship, making sure that they don't forget how to get in touch with you, right? And you start seeing on the next page, you know, the calendar broken out to maybe help you, you know, develop the campaign that you're interested in.
Do you want to take a break now?
Yeah, let's do that. I completely forgot. Y'all might want a break, right?
It is 6:57, so we'll do 7:15.
All right, 7:15. Be back on camera.
Wait, I have to take pictures.
Oh, wait.
I gotta take a picture. Hang on a second. Did they all stay?
It looks like they all stayed. You caught them before they jumped ship. And that was hard for you to do. I applaud you. I would have jumped right up.
Okay, let me see. Almost done. Okay, one more.
She's figured it out on the other computer, so smile. Yeah, this is not a mug shot. This is supposed to be,
Okay,
you're
go
supposed to
ahead.
be having fun.
Take your break.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you back at 7:15. Donnie, let us see your doggy.
Oh, he's so cute.
Oh. Oh, wow. That's a snuggle bug if I ever saw one.
Yeah, he's very fluffy.
What kind of dog is that, Donnie?
He's mostly a Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu. Yeah.
Oh, Kathleen the other day. Oh shit. Oh, Shih Tzu.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Yes. I'm sorry. She was repeating what someone else said. Jill was not saying a bad word.
Oh, no, sorry.
So what'd you do on your break? You had so much time. Look, everybody's chewing. It's like,
Did you get a snack?
oh, hang in there, peeps. We're gonna get through this.
Okay, gonna wait. I'm gonna do my screenshots in just a minute. I want to make sure everyone comes back. TikTok. Wes was on TikTok. Is he doing dances? He put that in the comment.
What'd he do?
You said, what'd you do on break? And he put TikTok.
I gotta go scoot over.
Wes, I would like to see those TikToks, and I want to know if you did any dances.
He can't hear you, or
He said he's
ignoring you.
addicted to watching them.
I'm just completely addicted to watching the videos.
You'll have to go watch mine.
There's actually a lot of really cool stuff on TikTok, I will say. I've learned a lot from TikTok.
There's a really good psychologist. There's a really good psychologist that does brief TikToks on how to deal with people.
Oh, that's good for real estate, because you need to figure out their personality type when you're dealing with them so that you can sell to them and meet to their personality type.
Yep.
Keisha says her husband's addicted to it. Some of them are really incredibly good.
What? So they're asking, Jennifer's asking who the psychologist is, Wes.
I'll have to look it up.
Hey, put it in the chat.
Will do.
Okay, I'm gonna take pictures, y'all.
Okay, everybody, let us see your beautiful faces. Good. Everybody's on camera except for, there he is.
Almost done. I just did it again. Okay, we're good.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much. You're doing so good. You're on time, you're on camera. We couldn't ask for more than that. So talk to me a little bit before we move on. Tell me what you've taken away from the first part of our conversation. What's an aha?
So I just tried to load a new contact and tried to do a smart plan with the 8x8 touch. I struggled with it, so I need some work, but I started it.
No, that's so great, Brittany. Jill's going to help you with that here in just a little bit. We're going to actually have a good block of time, I think, to be able for her to show that. And I hope all of you will benefit from it. What
Yeah.
else?
For me, it's the overthinking part. So I am one of those who keeps saying I need to get all these ducks in a row before I really do anything. So it's preparing to do so much and doing nothing. So that's what I'm trying to work on changing. Just do it and stop thinking about it and how you should do it and all of that. Yeah.
Yes, Carol, that is so, thank you for being honest, because you probably said what others are thinking. It's, you know, it's what we do, right? It's okay. There's no judgment. It just doesn't move us forward, right? And we just don't need to let anything hold us back from these big dreams that we have. You've gotten in this business for a bigger reason, and it's a shame to let fear, or especially something that may not even exist or be true, hold you back from your dreams, right?
I agree with like what Carol said. I tend to like overthink, especially when it comes to posting on my own social media. It's about like how will people react, or is it like too much? So over the break, I actually made my post to Facebook, to my friends, just like saying, if you're looking for a house, buying, selling, I am now an agent and I'm really excited to work with you. So I feel good about doing it now.
Very
I just need to stop, like Carol said,
good.
overthinking it. Just do it.
That's very good. Really
I wanted
good.
to share an experience for those who may be having. I'm challenged with that as well. I've been in the IT field for over 20 years, so this is new to me. But my husband is a realtor. At any rate, before I got my license, I start sharing with my contacts that I would be becoming a realtor. When I got it, that night, I sent a digital contact card to most of the contacts in my phone. Out of that, a former coworker referred me to her daughter. We now have a buyer brokerage agreement. And another family member from a post on Facebook referred me to her son. I have a buyer brokerage agreement with him as well as his fiance.
That's fantastic, Audra.
So it does work.
Yes, it does. You know, somebody I think asked in the chat earlier, and I believe Jill responded to it, but they say it was with regard to, do I start a business page? Do I use my personal page? You know, what's the correct combination? And they say, you know, for you should have, for every 5 personal posts, you could then maybe throw in something that was more business related, but you don't want to inundate your friends in your personal Facebook page with just that. But what you do is you bait them, right? You create a business page, and then in the personal, you could just say, look at my new listing. And then you direct them. So you're not having to really do much about that. You can just say, look at my, you know, share excitement like we do, sharing personal stuff in our personal world, but then rerouting them to your business page, where then they'll have access to a lot of other information, right? They can search, you know, for active listings. They can, you know, many of the agents are good to post, you know, good articles, or, you know, some type of market trend or something like that. So you definitely want to, you know, protect the friendship relationship, that casual, comfortable environment that you have there. But there's nothing wrong in occasionally posting something about business, but rerouting them to your business page for the depth of it, right?
Could I add one thing to that, Cece, please?
Certainly, Bonnie.
So I wound up finding a woman who lives near me on Real Estate Mastermind on Facebook, and we became friends on Facebook now. So I follow her. It's her personal Facebook page, but what she does is she posts little stories about the people she's helped. And it is really intriguing because everybody likes a good story about somebody that they could learn about. It's like a peek into somebody else's life. So like she just posted a huge Christmas tree shot of the house that this couple that she sold to bought. And she just said something like, as soon as we walked in, we envisioned this tree in there and it looks even better now. And just like cute things like that to her personal feed that just, of course, reminds people that she's a realtor, you know, busy realtor doing things for people, helping people, and in sort of a really personable way. So once I ever get a client, I'm going to try to do that too.
All right, Bonnie. Well, let's go get that client, because that is, that's a great thing to do. That sounds like fun. Well, a lot of our agents will just take a picture. They have a pattern of taking a picture after the closing, you know, right? Or maybe they'll even have the, you know, just closed or whatever. Or, if they have a closing gift that they've given them, they'll take the picture with the couple or the family or whatever and say another satisfied by, client, or, another happy family or something to that nature, and just post that stuff. And it's to your point, right? It's making it personal, but it really is subliminally, also the business pitch, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about becoming a master in your database, right? So let's ask the question, when do you add someone to your database, right? And you can read with me, as soon as you meet them, right? No time to waste. As soon as you meet someone new, you want to add them to your database. And then the action of what you want to do with that, right? So the plan would be, you're going to get their contact information, you add them to your database, then you'll follow up with a handwritten note. Let's talk about that handwritten note just a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything more than maybe 3 sentences. Earlier in your materials, they gave you some examples of what a handwritten note back on page 13. And even these, as good as they are, they're a little lengthy. And I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have, to feel that you have to be so creative, or that you have to write, something that is, so personal or so profound. It really is just, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. It was great to catch up, right? Then I'm available to you at any time, if you ever blah, blah, blah. So it says, please call me whenever a question or need comes up. I'll stay in touch. That's a little lengthy. And what a lot of times the agents do is, it's just, they write out, and whenever you have free time, you can actually go ahead and write out your handwritten notes. And that basically is 3 sentences. It was great to chat with you today. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you remembering me for any real estate needs, or referring me whenever you can. And, basically take care. It's that. You put a business card in there and you're done. So you can have those ready. And in so many cases, as soon as you might get off the phone or call, or as soon as you met somebody, then it's just a matter of addressing the envelope, basically, maybe personalizing it to dear so-and-so. And then you have those ready, and you just can slip them in the envelope, address the envelope, and then put the stamp, and they're ready to go. So, you don't have to get bogged down with trying to make it so personal. It's about maybe even what you talked about, or go into the depth that even these do, right? I'm thrilled to be with Keller Williams. I'm available to you at any time to be an asset. That's all great. And, you may want to do that the first time, but just know that you don't have to go that deep. You can be, short and sweet, and it still has the same level of impact. Right?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Like this time of year, obviously, probably a lot of us are sending out holiday cards.
Yes.
If you're sending out holiday cards to your database, like people really well in your database, do you recommend including a business card, or no, in like a holiday card?
That is a great question, and probably no.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Because this is your personal touch, right? That's about the relationship. So that's why when you do things of that, like a birthday card, things like that, you wouldn't want to necessarily do it for those occasions. But that's why in the between, anytime you can send out a handwritten note, and you can slip some cards in there, then you would want to do that, so that you wouldn't miss that opportunity, for sure.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I just wanted to say, if you're doing a little family update or a little letter in your Christmas card, then mention in there, Brittany's just kicked off her real estate career and she's super excited. And then kind of like, if you know anyone, you can do it lighthearted like that if you want to include it in your card, I think.
Yeah, no, I love those. You know how people will give you the family update, right? So, I mean, if you did something like that, to Jill's point, that would be fine, right? Because now again, you're just sharing your excitement around, your new venture. So, yeah, I don't think that would be bad at all. That was a great question, Brittany. Please, anybody else? You got any other questions? So we're talking about now, if we get a referral for someone, right? What's our action plan around that referral? So as soon as we get the referral, we want to thank the referring source and reward the action. So we're sending them the handwritten note and saying, thank you so much for thinking of me, blah, blah, blah. Get the referrals contact information, add them to your database. Now we're going to call, and then we're going to get the information we need to help us classify and qualify them. If they are a hot lead, we're going to get the appointment. Then we're going to put them on an 8x8 touch campaign, and we're going to move them into the 33 touch. So really and truly, everybody, when you meet them new, when you get a referral, any and all opportunities to add that contact to your database and then take it through those steps. Right? Your daily lead generation activities paired with systematic touch systems will yield results when implemented consistently and purposefully. Your goal is to out-touch all other agents. That's what you want. You want to give your people, the experience like nobody else will. And you can do that by just these simple little activities and actions. So when we put all this together, right, we want to continue to add contacts to our database. So we're going to work with that philosophy of that 10-4, right? If you think with me, just think, if you really did add 10 people a day, and let's just say for 5 days a week, right? And you did that consistently month over month. Do you see how quickly you'd be able to achieve a database of the size of 2,500 people? Just think, if you couldn't do 10, what if you just did 5? The numbers still add up pretty significantly. And a day that you could only do 1 or 2 is still a good day, because it's 1 or 2 more than you would have done had you just dismissed it. And they all start to add up. So never underestimate what can be done in a few minutes time. So let's say you don't have a block of time for lead generation activities. Make 1 call, do 1 handwritten note. Everything adds up over the long term. So, just because you can't do it at the highest level, don't not do it, right? Do whatever you can in whatever time you have allotted for that, right? And you want to make sure that you are, adding all your contacts and grouping them and qualifying them, and then creating those campaigns. And that is going to be so easy for you. Once we show you how easy it is to do that, then you should be able to catch right on to that. And then the other piece that we want you to do too is we talk about previewing homes. Why do you suppose there's value in that?
So you have a pulse on the
Learning
market.
the market. Yeah, learning the market.
You're learning the market. You have a finger on the pulse, Brittany. That's absolutely right. And let me tell you some other things, especially as a new agent. You start being able to recognize what you can expect in a home at different price points, right? So when someone sits with you and they say, yes, I want to spend $250,000 and I want, the hardwoods throughout and the granite, countertops, and I want this and I want that and I want this, you will immediately know that maybe that's got to be a conversation, right? Because that budget might not support that level of upgrade or asset to the property. So the more you go out and you go into a higher end property and you see the different customized, moldings or casings or different things, or how floor plans flow, different things like that, you start really learning more about what the value is at different price points. And that helps you a lot when you're working with a buyer or a seller, because for that matter, helping them price their home for sale, you use the same thought process. But yeah, it is just making sure that and also too, when you know what's on the market, when you know what the inventory is, you can also be able to very quickly, if you're meeting with a buyer and they give you that, you can say, oh, you know what, I just previewed a home, earlier this week that might work for you. You want to go see it, right? Something like that. So it really saves you a lot of time. And in many cases, if you've already done the work up front, to be able to step right in and maybe find the home that they're looking for. And in today's market, because we have such tight inventory, we have an abundance of buyers and we don't have enough properties available for them to buy. That's a good news, bad news. The good news is that's what's raising the values. So homes are appreciating at a phenomenal rate because it's the old supply and demand, philosophy. But it's very frustrating for buyers when they're looking for their dream home. So when you have a good understanding of what's available and what's coming and that type of thing, you could really help your buyer maybe get a jump start on finding that home before somebody else does. Does that make sense? And you don't have to do that in the physical. You can do it through your multiple list, right? It's awesome to be able to go out and, some of you should partner with each other. It's a great learning experience and you have the support of each other doing it for the first time or what have you. But you don't have to go and actually go physically into the home. You can do a lot of that legwork and research just by doing the searches on the MLS.
I have a question.
Okay.
When it comes to, I guess, kind of like farming in your neighborhood, because what I just did was I printed out, like I have like these little note cards that you just kind of pick up from Walmart or wherever. And I printed my picture on there and I want to do it in my neighborhood. But how do you use your wording for like them to kind of like, whether it's downsizing or upgrading to a bigger home? How do you do that wording for that?
For when you're suggesting that to someone, is it time for you to upsize or downsize? Is that what you're saying?
Right, like in your neighborhood, yeah. Like if you want to do like that farming in your neighborhood.
Let me think about that, Elise.
Contribution.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, you're offering your value to them and helping them make a good decision for themselves. So to Jill's point, she's saying we always come from contribution. How can we help them? So, I don't know if I understand completely what you're trying to do, but, if you were to market into a community and say, maybe something like, well, you don't know what their needs are, right? So it's very challenging for you to speak to it on the front end. But what you could say is, did you know that property values have improved? You might do some research, right, in your neighborhood over the last 6 months. I'd love to show you a market analysis to show you where, you might be. Approach things from that perspective as opposed to, or have you outgrown your home? I mean, I guess you could say that, right? has COVID kept you so in the house that now you need a new house, right? Because we're all cramped up. And we realize we need more space. You know, you could just basically say, has life shown you that you might need to make a change?
All of that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Good.
There's also a lot of templates in Command that you could probably just pull from and modify. Like there's a lead generation section in the design section of Command, and they've got like everything you could possibly think of. So you could probably just pull verbiage from some of that.
Very good, Brittany. Yeah, you'll find a lot of help there. Okay, let's do this little exercise right here, and then maybe we can give that good chunk of time to Jill to help you really start having access to these things that'll make a lot of this come together for you. But on page 37, there's a recall and remember. So Janet, to your question about filling in the blank, this may be a great opportunity for me to give you some specific answers, but take a minute in yourself and see if we have touched on enough of this conversation that you're able to answer these questions. So play with that for a few minutes, and then we'll go over your answers, and then I'll give you some that you might not have thought of. Who's got some answers that they'd like to share with the group?
I'll share the first one with the benefits of a database. Basically I put, so like you can kind of know who you're talking to when you're talking to them, like especially going back to that 8x8 or the 33 touches. And then you'll be able to put your people into like a category of A, B, or C, and you're not just kind of like reaching out to people like in vain, basically. You know, you kind of like prioritizing when and how soon you need to talk to people.
That's right. That's very good, Elise. Very good. Yes, Bonnie?
Okay, I think for the next one, maybe it's important to put everyone in your database on a campaign because the campaign is more applicable to a certain specific group or time in their lives. That would maybe bring their attention more to what you're offering to help with.
Very good. Yes. You know, that's particularly true. I've been working with one of my agents with, he is very interested in working with the seniors when they are moving into, assisted living or those types of things. And that's a very specific, way. You want to be very purposeful in how you talk to that group of people, because that's a very, trying and emotional time in many of their lives, right? So you're absolutely right. Grouping them like that, that's the whole purpose of what we were talking about. So that's a really good example of that, Bonnie. Come on, what else? Somebody that hadn't spoken to us tonight. Let me hear you. All right, you ready for me to help you out?
For the first one, I put, you can create a daily planner so that as you make contacts and, like you can go three weeks out or, a month out, and it'll remind you to call that person or get back in touch with that person. And then for the second one I had, because life situations change, people's lives change, and they may need to move or sell a house or what have you. So.
That's exactly right. I particularly like what you said, Donnie, about making a plan, because once you get this all set up and systemized, it's going to alert you to the timing. It's time to touch this person, or it's time to do this, or it's time to do that. So basically it generates a task list for you that then solves the problem really of what you do within your lead generation time, right? Because it's giving you direction on what you need to be doing based on, the information that's in that system, which is very helpful, right? Because, you can really maximize whatever time you have when your task list is already presented to you, right? And you're not having to dig for it. Very good. So let me just read off a couple that you might want to make a note to. Of course, a powerful database really is intended to produce leads, right? That's what we really want. We want that repeat and referral business. So the database, the true benefit of that is we're hoping that we will get leads out of it, right? And then, of course, it does help us have a schedule, of predictable flow of leads. If we use that rule of thumb, nurturing 50 people in your database is going to generate a piece of business. Well, if you do then that consistently, you'll have a predictable flow of business, which is really what we want to achieve in this industry. Because so much happens when, you get a client and you get so excited about helping them through that process that in many cases we neglect the continuation of lead generation, right? Because we're helping them through the negotiation and the inspection and their financing and this and that. And so that keeps us rather busy with just that one client. And we sometimes then, confuse that busy work with time blocking for the lead generation activity. So what happens when in many people's businesses, it's peaks and valleys, right? Because we got a client and we work it. And the next thing we know, we don't have any business because we neglected generating the next piece of business. And that's what you want to eliminate. That's what will drive you crazy in this business. It's feast and famine, right? And so when you consistently are generating business and getting leads out of your database on a consistent basis, you eliminate that roller coaster. You actually move from one into the next. So it's really important to be consistent with what you are doing within that database. And it's definitely a tool to nurture and manage relationships, right? These people, in many cases, we've found in our careers, your clients can become some of your best friends, You know, you go through a lot with each other, and some people just really hit it off. And, you know, so the continuum of nurturing the relationship can be as personal as it is professional, right? And then they say, of course, the size of your database will determine the size of your bank account, right? And so that's the value of growing a big database, is that you broaden your opportunity, of course, to make more money. The next question says, why is it important to put everyone in your database on a campaign? Well, of course, we've mentioned it over and over again. It's to stay top of mind. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. They come to think of you as a source of valuable information, and then you become their trusted consultant when it comes to real estate services. And what is our 8x8? Somebody tell me what that is.
8 touches within 8 weeks.
That's correct, Selena. And then what is a 33 touch campaign? And when do you use it?
33 touches in a year.
That's correct, Keisha. And you flow right into the 33 touch from the 8x8. The 8x8 may be a very pointed campaign, right? I mean, what you're doing there is you're really trying to bond the relationship with that person. And that's why you are frequently touching them and providing them specific items of value and things of that nature, because that's kind of really engaging at a high level. And then you back off and you start pacing those touches, you know, to be less frequent over the course of the rest of the year. But very good. See, you learned something. So talk to me a little bit about what would be your biggest challenge? What are you most excited about? Let's talk a little bit about what happens next, right? I mean, so what you learned today is, of course, you know, a huge piece of building your foundation to a very successful business. And, you know, knowing is half the battle, right? Now you know what you need to do. What would be a reason you wouldn't commit to it? What are you going to let interfere with your commitment? Or what are you not going to let interfere with your commitment to really growing a good, strong database, which will then grow you a big, strong business?
Fear. So, oh, do you want to go first, Audra?
Yeah. We're good.
All right. So I think at first it was kind of like everybody was saying, I did have a lot of fear because I didn't really know where to start or what information to give or not to give. So I'm glad that there's a guideline. Sorry, excuse me. I'm glad there's a guideline on how to start it. That way I feel more organized and not kind of all over the place when it comes to, you know, starting to generate leads.
That's very good then. Very good, Tatiana.
I have something to say to that too. I think for me, I was really optimistic about joining this class this time around because I started in August, but I'm a full-time teacher and part-time realtor, and I'm 17 weeks pregnant. So with my first baby, and I'm just like, maybe this just, I'm telling myself like, maybe this just isn't my season for this right now, but I know like, I know I can do it. I know I can make the phone calls. I know what I need to do. I'm calling parents and I'm like, ugh, I don't feel like ethically I could weave in like, oh, by the way, your kid is failing my class and I'm a real estate agent. I just am like, I don't know how to do that.
If you really hate the school, I could transfer you to a different district very easily.
Rachel, I think you have a good point because you're not the only teacher in this group, and it is challenging because I've got about 856 on my roster, and trying to balance Zoom teaching and then real estate. I mean, it is a challenge. So when Cece is mentioning like what are our hangups and fears, mine is time management right now. But I do appreciate this book in this format because it does, you know, put it into step 1, step 2, step 3. And as an educator, I mean, Rachel, you get that, like steps are very helpful.
Yes, thank you, Brian. And Rachel, I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
I love that you're honest about it because, yeah, it's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. Because what I've always said is you can, first of all, let me just say this. Some of our top performing agents came from education, right? And they transitioned out of teaching into real estate in the similarity that y'all described, right? They're juggling two very big responsibilities. It can be done. What you have to figure is sit down and realistically look at your calendar. And whatever time you feel you can honestly commit to building your real estate business, then that's it, right? You build your strategy and your business plan within those limitations, right? Because you still need to create consistency. And the only way you can do that, it doesn't have, like I said, you may not have an hour, but you might have 15 minutes, right? Okay, what would I do with the 15 minutes? Well, I would try to add somebody to my database, right? And I'm progressing, I'm growing, right? Instead of getting overwhelmed and saying, I can't do this. No, you can do this. You're just going to have to be real intentional around scheduling the time. And if it's not a big segment of time, then figure out how you can maximize what little time you have, right? Because you can build a business plan within your limitations that over time will still yield great results. Right?
There's a girl in my office that I spoke to right after I joined the team, and she started out as a substitute teacher making like 40 or 50K and decided to pick up real estate on the side and she started selling to like other teachers and other families and stuff. And now she makes like 350 grand a year, and she quit substitute teaching, but like literally her first year she was substitute teaching and doing this on the side. So like she's definitely a clear example that it can happen.
Well, and you know too, Rachel, you might ask, I mean, it's not appropriate possibly to combine the conversations in one phone call, right? But it wouldn't hurt if you asked them if you know, just somehow you could say, you know, because you're there. Do you ever feel comfortable being able to say, you know, explain I'm in real estate, or could you possibly say, you know, in creating my schedule, you subliminally say something about, you know, I'm, you know, working in my real estate or whatever, to give this chance. Because more importantly, we don't necessarily want to interfere with the teacher-parent relationship, but at the same time, if you could get them in your database, you could talk to them in different ways, right? Then they become part of your drip campaign. They become part of, you know, an occasional call that's not relative to the school. It's relative then to the item of value that you might have sent them, or, you know, it totally separates, you know, the hats, right? You know, I have my teacher hat on today. That's right. But then you could say, you know what? I have my realtor hat on today, and I wanted to reach out to you to ask, you know, would you mind if I added you to my, you know, monthly newsletter, right? There's a lot of really good information and, you know, something of that nature, to where you can utilize the relationships, but not, you know, have that conflict.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cece, and everybody. That was awesome. Thank you.
Well, that question usually does bring some concerns out, and we need to talk about them. because you can't harbor any of that in there because it's crippling you from reaching your dreams. And we're all in this together. That is the most beautiful piece of us having gone virtual and brought all of our audiences together. While I have, 10 or so wonderful agents that would be in class with me here, they get the advantage now of meeting the larger audience. There's, 30 of you, 35, I think, or so of you, which is fantastic. You're all launching your real estate careers. You're all learning together. And the relationships that you make in this setting, will support you through a long career, with each other. So this has to be a safe place is what I'm saying. We want to be able to talk about what our concerns are, what our fears are. We want to help each other because at the end of the day, if we're not feeling it now, we might next week, right? We're all running at maybe different paces, but we all are feeling a lot of similar sentiment. So.
DC, this is sort of off topic, but we're all here at night to learn as much as we can. And I think that you've done a great job tonight of helping us. Susan did a great job on Tuesday. I'm in the Buckhead office, and Nan Ellington is our compliance coordinator, and she's offering contract like 101 on Wednesdays. And I went via Zoom yesterday and I was the only person. So I got a one-on-one contract like class with her that was amazing. And so I was just going to put in the chat the email or the link to get it. It's on Wednesdays, but if you guys are really wanting to learn, like to be confident about contracts once you get a buyer or a seller, then I'll just put it in the chat for anyone that wants to do it, because she like really made me feel very confident about it. So I know that's nothing to do with our database, but it's just more knowledge always makes us, I think, feel more confident.
It's perfect, Jennifer. And most all of our market centers are going to have something similar. We teach contracts on Fridays, every other Friday here at the Cityside. I'm sure each one of your market center has some offering of the contracts 101 and 102, right? So
I just thought I'd throw that out there because she was so good.
Well, and Jennifer, you make a bigger point, because anything that you can participate in, you should be participating in, right? Don't judge the book by the cover, right? So if the title doesn't entice you, you might check it out, right? If you can, in this particular case, I often say just because you can doesn't mean you should. But in this particular case, I'm saying if you can, when it comes to education, you should, because you're going to pick a gold nugget up out of every class that you attend, right? And it all adds up. But the one thing that you need to do as a new agent is stay connected to the market center, right? This is not an individual sport. It really is. You've got such resources. Keller Williams is such a phenomenal organization, and we just have so many resources and such willing, loving people that want to help you through all of our market centers. I mean, we really want you to be successful. I want it for you almost more than you probably do yourself. Because after having had a very lengthy career in this industry, my joy now is, giving you that same opportunity. So stay connected with your market center and attend all the classes that you possibly can, and ask a lot of questions, right? Ask a lot of questions. You can't be afraid to do that. All right, well, have you had about all you can take of me? Let me give you some Jill. How about that? Listen, I can't wait to see you Saturday morning. I get the pleasure of coming back around, and we're going to continue this conversation about now how to prospect for new business, and hit on a lot of lead generation strategies and things like that. So I'll see you back then. But Jill's going to bring us home with a little technology, and don't roll your eyes. You need it. You need it. You want it, right? So yeah, Jill, I'm going to so appreciate you, and I'm going to sit right here with you. So if you have any questions for me as you go through any of this, I'm right here and eager to help you. Okay. All right, Jill, take it away. Sorry, I have to mute.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Sorry for the weird look because I got my iPad, I got the computers in front of me. Is it still echoing?
Yeah. Can you hear you?
Yeah, but
You want me just to
turn the volume down, all the way down. Sorry, we got multiple going on here with her computer. That's why I got the headphones on. Okay, so this is Command. This is our dashboard on Command, you guys, and hopefully you've all been here. If you haven't, you're going to use your KW username and password to log in here. We're going to go to a contact, and I'm going to go through with you how to create a contact. And one of the things I always tell new agents, as we talked about database, the way I say it is start with your friends and your family. They're the ones that know and love and trust you. So call them, practice a script if you want, or just call them and say, hey, look, I'm with Keller Williams now, and we have this amazing technology, and I need to practice putting you in my system, and I need to set it up so that I can test it out and try it and help you guys out. So I'm sorry, I got distracted because that's green, but I just want to make sure that they can all hear me. Can you all hear me? Shake your head. Okay, good. All right. So call your friends and family and say, hey, I just joined Keller Williams. They've got this amazing technology. I want to put you in my database so that I can play with it all and test it all out. And I'm going to send you this really cool specialized custom email just for you that gives you a good idea of what's happening in the real estate market so you can see what's happening and know what your home's value is worth or what's selling around you so you can be a nosy neighbor. Use all that kind of stuff just to give them the information, okay? So I've clicked on this second button down. It says contacts. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit add a contact. And I always either add my dogs or a friend or whoever. So I'm going to add my friend Tracy. She lives in California, but we'll make up information for her, okay? This primary email address, you can only put a primary email address in once into Command. So if you've got a husband and wife that share the email, you cannot put the email in twice, okay? And then I'm going to put a phone number in for her. And remember, Cece said the more information you put in your database, the better it is and the more that you're going to be able to do with it, right? So if she is a lead, we can select if she's a lead source from a list or if she's from a contact. So maybe she came from my husband, decided that he was going to refer her to me. So I connected him. I can mark her as a lead if I want. I could just add her in directly to my sales pipeline, or I can just add her to my database, period, because she's my friend. So we talked about categories. Cece talked about categories, right? So in Command, they're called tags. So in here, the gray tags are system tags. The ones that have colors are ones that I've created. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of different stuff in mine. One of the ones I always like to use as an example is my kid is a huge soccer player and spend a ton of time on the soccer field. So I have a tag that's called Soccer Friends, meaning that I met them on the soccer field. And so then I know that that's where I met them, just like the categories Cece was talking about. If you're going to put each other in your database, like was talking about in the chat earlier, mark agent, or maybe even mark Rawls Group agent or mark Peachtree Road agent. So you know specifically. And maybe she's going to be a buyer. And so when I sort this out, I can pull up everyone that's listed as buyer and I can send out an email and say, hey, my future buyers, that kind of stuff, right? Maybe I met her at the dog park right? You can create all kind of categories. So how do I create a tag? It is as simple as typing in the words. So let's say I met her at the airport. I type in airport. Obviously, there's not a tag. So I can click this button that says create custom tag. I can change the name of it right here if I want. I can make it whichever color I want. And I can hit add. It's that simple, you guys. It's so user-friendly and so easy, okay? So now I want to put more information in here. I'm going to hit add more information. It's going to open up 3 more categories for me. In the additional information, you can put in a secondary email, a secondary phone number. Maybe she's got a home phone number. Who's listening to rock? Can you guys hear that? Someone was listening to heavy metal. Okay, whatever that phone number may be, right? And then you're going to want to put in their home address. This is extremely important, you guys. It's back.
The heavy metal?
Yeah, can you guys hear it or is it just me? Okay, it's me. Maybe it's my iPad. I don't know. I can hear heavy metal. Okay.
It's getting late, people.
It's been a long day, y'all. Okay, so address. If you start putting in an address, it's going to auto-populate all over the country, as you can see. So I'm going to pick the address. If I had Facebook, I could paste in her Facebook link right here. I also want to go about my friend Tracy's birthday is coming up. And I could put the year, and then you all know how old I am. Maybe her home anniversary. If you sell somebody a house, you better put their home anniversary in there. And then you can automatically set up the smart plan for home anniversary, and it will automatically set up a reminder for you, okay? I can connect her to just about anybody I want. And so you all, I know this is kind of crazy, but I used her dog one time as an example, Lola. Oh, she's in my team database. Okay, let's say I wanted to connect her to somebody else, and this is maybe her cousin, okay? And then I can add more connections to people if I want. So if you've got a husband and wife that you're going to be working with, this is where you would add the husband or wife. And let's say, for example, it's somebody that I've never put in before. Like I'm going to go ahead and put, why can't I think of anyone? So he's not one of my contacts, and you can see that he's not popping up. All I have to do is hit add, and he's been now added to my database. He's only in there with a name. He's not in there with anything else. But I can go back and add his information later, okay? If you know where they work, that's always good. Under custom, there you can create what are custom fields inside the settings, and you can hit add custom field. And as you can see, I've created different types of custom fields in mine, and I'll show you. It's super easy how to do, but maybe I want to know what their favorite sports team is. And when I created this custom field, I set it up with a drop down. So as you can see, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area because these are all Bay Area teams. So maybe your favorite sports team is the 49ers. Oh gosh, not the Raiders. We don't like them. Why does it keep doing that?
We don't like the Raiders. What?
No, I don't like the Raiders. And oh my gosh, it's not letting me pick anyone else, you guys.
Raiders are the bomb.
I'm not a Raider fan. But I do have to tell you this real quick. So John Madden, the 70s icon Raiders, I know him. He's from my hometown. So he's a very
so that's why I say that. I'm from
he's a very cool guy. So for that, we'll leave it. But other examples here that I've got is, where did I have? Maybe, you've heard of agents that do pie days before Thanksgiving, and maybe I want to keep track of her favorite kind of pie so that I make sure she gets, these aren't working right, you guys. It's only going to the top one. But those are custom fields. And then I'm going to hit create. It's that simple. I have now created a new contact, and I'm going to go right here and I'm going to hit search for Tracy. And she should be right here. There she is. And now I open her contact card. So my suggestion, you guys, is when you're making these calls to your friends and family, put them in and open up this contact card while you're talking to them. You can make changes to it by simply hitting this pencil. It'll open up the edit page. You can scroll through, and one of the most important things you need to do is add them to neighborhoods. So how you're going to do that is you're going to, because I put her address in, I'm going to pick add a neighborhood. It's always easier on the map because this will pull up neighborhoods anywhere in the United States and Canada. So I'm going to zoom in, and all of these little green boxes, y'all, are neighborhoods. And Keller Williams is receiving this data from the Nextdoor app. Keller Williams said, hey, you've put together these neighborhoods. Will you share that with us? And they said yes. So I can select neighborhoods for her. I can select, this is the one that she lives in. This is where the pin's at. That is based on the address I put in for her. And maybe she is a friend that I'm just telling her we got this cool technology, and I'm going to send you this so you know whenever a home is for sale around you, and you can see kind of an idea of what your home value is. So I can click maybe the ones right around her. Let's say, for example, maybe this is a lady that I met at the soccer field that's like, oh my gosh, we have a friend that lives in this neighborhood that's just amazing. All the houses are great. We would love to live in that neighborhood someday. And as soon as there's a house we like, we'll sell our house. Sure, no problem. Let me help you out with that. Maybe it's this neighborhood over here, Lee's Crossing. I'm going to click on that. And now when she gets these updates from me, she's going to see the information for homes for sale in Lee's Crossing. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to hit save. So now, as you can see right here, I've saved neighborhoods for this client, Tracy. And you can see over here on the timeline what has happened. And as things go with your clients, y'all, you're going to get information on your timeline if you keep updated information. So I called Tracy. I'm going to click the blue button. I'm going to hit add activity. And in here, you can make notes. So maybe we had a phone call. We talked. Oh, I can't type. You guys.
Hey, Jill, I have a quick question while you're
yeah.
looking, sorry.
Go.
What is, like, I've seen there's the command videos and the Scott Leroy videos on YouTube. I've seen that. Is that the best resource? Because every time I watch these, it just gets better. It gets clearer. Is that the best resource to kind of self-teach us or
Yeah, so there are a bunch of great resources. Scott Leroy, typically their videos are hour-long classes, and they're fantastic. And they'll hit all the details. There is another guy, and write this down, you guys. His name is Marty Miller. He is a productivity coach and a very productive agent in Houston, Texas. And back when our technology started about 3 years ago, he started doing what he calls the 66-day challenge. Because in Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, you have to do something 66 days in a row to create a habit. So it's called the 66-day challenge, and every single day he has a video. If you go to YouTube and you search Marty Miller, you will find his channel, and his videos are all 15 minutes or less. So his are quick, his are to the point, and you can search by topics. My recommendation with Marty's stuff is make sure that it's not too old, because like I said, he started doing these about 2 or 3 years ago when Command was just a baby. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Keller Williams has been growing and building Command at lightning speed. So 3 weeks ago, Command is different than it is today. 3 months ago, it's still pretty similar, but it's definitely different than it was 6 months ago. So if you can find a video on Marty Miller that is less than 6 months old, watch that one. Don't watch anything that's 2 years old because it's not even going to look the same. That's my tip for that. There's another lady named Lori Balden that teaches classes on YouTube, and she's out of Colorado, and hers are pretty good, and hers range from 30 minutes to an hour.
You say Baldwin or Balden?
I think it's Baldern. It's B-A-L Beldern, B-E-L-D-R-E-N, something like that. You'll see it if you just search, type in YouTube, KW Command, and you'll see her in there because she's got a ton of videos. Okay. So going back to this, as you can see in this timeline, it was able to tag a phone call. This blue button is how you can do that. You can add activities, you can make notes, you can set a calendar appointment. So think about it this way. This is your dashboard. You should always have it up when you're talking to people. And you can add information so you remember what's happened. Okay, so let's go back real quick to these neighborhoods. First thing is we could go to the smart plan. I can add a smart plan.
Jill,
and
quick question.
Here. Yeah, go.
How did you get to the split screen? I just don't remember.
Oh, it's just the contact card. It's so if I go back here and I search for Tracy and I click on her contact, this is her contact card. So this side is her information and this side is her timeline and the things that I can do with it. Make sense? Okay. So
I just inputted names today for the first time, so I'm still brand new with this.
Perfect. No problem. So as you can see, I did not have the monthly neighborhood nurture in my smart plan list. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go over here to smart plans. And we can talk about this more on Saturday because we're going to be going into campaigns and stuff in the class that CC's teaching you. So here is my smart plans, and these are the ones that I've added. Here is the library, and the library has tons and tons of stuff. And now they're allowing us as agents to create smart plans and publish them. And so typically those ones are down here at the bottom. You can see there's different authors. There's Marty Miller, the guy I was just talking about. He's got a bunch of great smart plans in there. When you come in here to look at these smart plans, you can click on view steps and it'll show you this one takes place over 56 days. It's 15 steps and it's 8 touches. And it sends a text, and here's the text. It waits 7 days. It sets up a task for you. It waits 7 days. It tells you and sends you a reminder to make a phone call. Waits 7 days. This is sends a text, and this is the verbiage that goes through on the text. It waits 7 days. And then it adds you to the month, adds them to the monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan automatically. And then there's the delay and the phone call and the delay. And you see how it continues on. So I can hit add and it will add it. This is a smart bundle. So it's going to make me add both of them because it links from the 8x8 to the monthly neighborhood nurture. Okay, so it's going to add both of them. And this is a new feature in here, you guys, that it can link them back and forth together. So I'm going to hit download. And now in my smart plan list, I should have the monthly neighborhood nurture and the 8x8. So if I close this and I go back to my smart plans, Now you can see the 8x8. And here's the monthly neighborhood nurture. This is the one I was looking for. And it says here, right here. And usually when you hover over stuff, it'll tell you, you guys. This is a monthly email that helps you reach out to clients, leads, recruits, and show real-time marketing data specific to their neighborhood. You can click on this and it'll show you the steps of the plan. Okay. So that's just a quick overview of Smart Plans. I'm going to go back to contacts. And I am going to search for my friend again. And there she is. So I have a couple things I can do. I've put in her neighborhoods and I've added these neighborhoods. Okay. And I'm going to hit Smart Plan and I'm going to hit Add Smart Plan. And then I'm going to go find the monthly neighborhood nurture. There it is. I'm going to hit select and I can have this start right now and it will literally send the email right now, or I can pick a day that I want it to start on. So I'm going to do this tomorrow because you guys, I think that's really her email address. And I think she probably doesn't want to see houses in Georgia. She lives in California. So it's going to ask for confirmation. I'm going to hit confirm. And now it's automatically going to send this tomorrow. It's that simple. And you can have this conversation with every friend and family that you know, just so you can get practice. Here's another thing that you can do with this and with these neighborhoods. Remember I said maybe I had the example that they love Lee's Crossing neighborhood and they really want to live there. Okay, I could put them on a Smart Plan and they're going to get information on Lee's Crossing, or I can go right here and it says copy link. Each and every single one of our contacts has their own personal URL. They have their own specific URL right here. So I'm going to click copy. Let's pretend I open up my email and I type in, hey, Tracy, here's your own personal URL. This is your search space for Keller Williams for all homes anywhere in the US. This is your link, bookmark it. Every time you go back to it, you're going to see the latest and the greatest in the real estate industry and what's for sale. Okay. So I'm going to open this just so you all can see. Let's pretend like we're clicking on the link. I just pasted the link in there. I'm going to hit enter. And this is what they get. And as you can see, these names are those neighborhoods that I just selected in her neighborhoods, right? And here's Lee Crossing. So she wants to move to Lee's Crossing someday. So she can now scroll through here and see every single home that's for sale in Lee's Crossing. And over here on the map are these houses. And I can hit control and zoom in. I can see where they sit in the neighborhood, right? And down here's my marketing information. She could send me a message and then this will pop up that she sent me a message. She can also say, wow, this looks really cool. She can click on the house. She can see all the pictures. She can see all the information. There's only one picture, of course. You guys, let's pick a house with pictures. You guys, I'm still hearing the music. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, so this one has 27 pictures. We can see all the pictures of this house. She can scroll down. She can see all the details, bedrooms, baths, square footage, details of the house, commute times, when the house was, everything, where it sits in the neighborhood, current statistics in the neighborhood, public schools that are right there within the area. Also, there's a link to Keller Mortgage, help them save money. Keller Covered, that's Keller's insurance. Okay.
Jill, how did you get to that again? Like, how do you link the two of them? Command and this?
So in command, I'm going to go back to contacts. So This monthly neighborhood nurture is going to have a link to it. It's an email that just has a little picture and it says, here's your monthly neighborhood update. And they click on it and it's going to take them here. That's one way. The second way is I used this link. Each person has their own specific URL. So this link, we pretended I emailed it to her. Hey, Tracy, here's your, the goal is to get them off Zillow, you guys, and to get them to start using Keller Williams systems. So if we send them a link, can I put in a zip code for a certain area? You can, when you're searching for your neighborhoods, you go by the map. So if you want to go to a certain area and you can search by location here, I think, you know what, let me see. Wait, I'm trying to think of a 8, 6. Oh, look, that's bringing up Oregon. So, oh, that pulled up an address. I don't know if it'll pull up zip codes. It doesn't pull by zip code, you guys, but it will pull by city. So you can do, I can't spell. Oh, it's pulling by highways. So you can pull by areas and then you can zoom in and then you can search for neighborhoods and add neighborhoods to their piece. Did that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. So once we pick their neighborhoods, we have 2 options. Send them the monthly neighborhood nurture, and they're going to get this email every month. So really, this is a great plan for everybody that you know, because once a month, they get an email update about what's happening in the real estate market around them. And it's a gentle touch coming from you, reminding them that you're in real estate. And once a month's not that big of a deal, right? Okay.
Hi, Jill. I have a question. A couple times I've tried to add neighborhoods that don't pop up. Has that ever happened to you? Like if you're trying to add a neighborhood that doesn't come up in the search box?
It has to be one of these green boxes. So like right here, there's no neighborhood.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
It does. I have a friend who I know wants to move to a certain area. And so I don't know how to put that in her contact because it doesn't come up. Like it's Peachtree City. She wants to move to Peachtree City and that doesn't seem to come up.
Okay. You should be able to, let me see if we zoom this map out. We can drag it and we can move to Peachtree City. And then we can zoom in. So it's not just the hard part is it's not the whole city. It's the neighborhoods are what we're looking for. So if she wants to be on this side of Peachtree City, I guess this part is really not. So really what you could do is you could click every single one of these.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to close those because we don't need to add those. Let me see if I just close that. Okay. So
Hey, Jill.
yeah,
Jill,
go for it.
I'm so sorry, but the class is supposed to be over at 8:30 and I have to get my daughter at soccer. So what do I do to make sure I get credit?
Well, class is over at 8:45 because of the 15-minute break.
Oh, no one told us that. Did anybody else know that?
They told you 5:30 to 8:30. Is that what they told you?
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's what they said yesterday.
Nobody else told us that. So
okay.
Well, if that's what
okay.
You just
if that's what they said, then that's what we'll do. So I can go over more stuff tomorrow too, but this is a huge piece of it, you guys, and just getting that with your friends and your family as a place to start.
But my email said from 5:30 to 8:45.
Yeah,
So I guess
typically,
different people are getting different information.
We have received different information. I think everybody's email says to 8:45, but yesterday they verbally said in the Zoom 5:30 to 8:30. So it would be, yeah, it was kind of confusing.
And then
Mine said
originally it was 5 to 8, which everybody showed up yesterday at 5 o'clock, and it wasn't until 5. Is that right? Did everybody show
Yeah,
up at
Cece
5?
and I showed up at 5 o'clock tonight too.
yeah, we thought it was 5 o'clock as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to not get credit, but I just thought it was till 8:30.
Yeah.
No.
So the confusion is not your guys' fault. So let me do the screenshot so everyone gets credit, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. And they'll just have to deal with it. So, okay, screenshot.
And there's a class tomorrow? I thought it was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Just making sure.
Saturday at 9, it'll be me and Cece.
Okay. No, we are not going to make Friday night be time with us. Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say, not unless y'all are gonna allow us to have wine, because the way these kids are, I don't know.
That part.
Well, we could work with that.
Okay, last screenshot. Oh, Anthony, I'm glad you're back. Okay,
My
y'all.
connection come out, my connection's not shaking.
What? Is everybody good?
Jill, if you don't mind, I did have a quick question about what you were just sharing.
Yeah, so hang on real quick. So if anyone needs to go because you thought class ended at 8:30, go ahead. I already did the screenshots and I'm happy to stick around and answer questions.
Bye, everybody.
Did you get me?
Okay, go ahead. Who was that?
That was Janet.
Janet, go ahead.
Okay, so on my contact card, I clicked copy link like you did. Now, when you click copy link, do you have to then open up an email to send that to your person, or what does that do when you click copy link?
Let me show you. Hang on. Let me open this back up. Share screen. Okay. So when I clicked copy link, it is copied that link to my clipboard. So what I did was I opened a new tab and I pasted it in. And then I clicked enter. Okay. So if I was going to send an email, like I used in my example, I could go here, I could paste the link, and as you can see, it's not active. So all I have to do is highlight it, hit the link button here. I'm going to take this out because it's confusing. And I can say, hey, Tracy, blah, 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 blah. I send her this email, and then when she clicks on this, it takes her here.
Quick question. When you put her on the plan, that sends out that monthly, right? So we wouldn't have to like manually do it, or how?
No, once you hit confirm, it goes. So because it's active right here, it'll go automatically. And it'll show you, like, once this starts happening multiple times, it'll show you the last time it was sent. So anytime I come to Tracy's contact card and I click on Smart Plans, I can look and see the last time it was sent.
So that would be like example, let's say Tracy calls you and says, I want to add this one neighborhood. Then
the cool thing is she can add neighborhoods. So from here, this is her page, right? She can hit add neighborhood, and you can see it pulls up stuff around, but look, it's pulling California stuff. So she can search by a specific, like, so maybe Pace's Farm. And you can see it pulls up different stuff. So it can be a little bit tricky. So I can say, So this can be a little tricky because it's pulling everywhere. So if I just do Pace's Farm, and then I can hit follow, and then I hit confirm, and now you can see Pace's has been added to hers. And then let's say, for example, she's looking at these houses and she likes this one and she hates this one, so she takes it off. Mark that. Okay. And then she looks at the pictures on this one. All of these things that she's doing is going to go back when I update this contact. When I open, I can see everything that she did. So you can see here's that monthly neighborhood email that went out. So I can see we talked on the phone. I subscribed her to the neighborhood nurture. The email went out. Let's see if it should take me to the email. Oh, it's not taking me because I have logged into my wrong email, you guys. You can see that she viewed the smart plan. Oh, it usually marks too, like when she likes a page or didn't like a page. And it will usually tell you when they opened and looked at pictures. And it will usually tell you too, like that she viewed pictures, and then you can see the link to the house and it'll take you straight to the link of the house. What was that question? What did I use for this type of?
Jill, quick question.
The family was targeting one school.
Okay. Bonnie, I'll answer your question in just a second. Go ahead. Who was that?
That was me, Ryan.
Hey.
Just a quick question. For those of us that have downloaded the My KW app on our phone, I know it looks different, but doesn't the information you're describing where you can see what they've done, doesn't that also reflect on the My KW app?
It should be feeding so the KW app, the red one, the white box with the red letters, if they've created a login there, that's our consumer app. It puts them into your command automatically. And then in that contact, you can see what they've done.
Okay.
And remember, you guys, I'm telling you that their stuff is normally here and should be here. One of the things that Gary Keller has said is today is the worst command will ever be. Tomorrow it's going to be better. And believe me, a year ago, we were like, yeah, it could be so much better. It is a million times better today than it was a year ago. And they usually do a lot of their updates and building the platform at night. So that might be why we can't see the stuff that I'm telling you is normally there. So if that makes sense. Okay. So then there was a question about school districts. It does not search by school districts right now, but what you can do is zoom in on the map and just look, add by neighborhood, zoom by map. You kind of are going to have to know where the schools are because they're not marked on the map. So I know, for example, that Hillgrove High School is like right here. And I know that because that's where my kids go. And that this is one of the primary neighborhoods, but a lot of these small outlying ones too, all go to Hillgrove. So just kind of get a good idea of maybe some neighborhoods that they want to be in. And then just click on everything all the way around.
Hey, Jill, I have something to add for that. Just as a teacher, you guys might want to write this down. I can remember in the class that I was in last year, and they were telling us what we can and cannot share about schools, the demographics and things like that. So like we can always, I forget what my teacher said. It was something about we cannot give the information, but we can direct them where they can find the information. The general public can obtain almost all the information they want to know by Googling the CCRPI score for any school. It's CCRPI. When you type that in the school district, it actually will show you all the demographics. It even gives you a school report card, and it'll let you know what that is. So if it's a family that has a lot of children or kids that are 3 and 4 about to be in elementary public school system, they can do their own research and obtain that, public report card.
That's great information. And he's right. You can't tell them this school's great or this school's better or this school's worse or whatever. You just need to tell them, that they're going to need to do their own research, and here's a great website.
That's not what I was talking about at all, though. Many people in East Cobb know a specific school they want to be in. They might have a kid with certain needs that they know this school is great for example. So they'll look specifically for neighborhoods in a particular school district.
Yes.
They already know
So
where
that would be a matter of maybe going to the, so East Cobb's Cobb County. So going to Cobb County, looking at the districting map for that specific school, and then kind of paralleling it to this map on command so that you can pick the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Make sense?
Maybe I'll try that. I don't know. It would be nice if it was already, you could search by
I
a
know.
word or something. That would be nice, but maybe one
And
day.
that's part of the plan, and it should be getting there in the future. And just so you guys know, there is a website that's called ideaskw.com, and you can go in there and post ideas just like that, because command is being built for the agents by the agents. So with all of our information and our tips like that, we can encourage them to build the way that we want it. Ideas, is it KW Ideas, CC? KW Ideas.com.
I'm not sure. Ideas. There, is that it?
It's no, it's
ideas@kw.com.
here it is. It's ideas.kw.com. And so this is a great place for you guys to go. This is a totally crazy side note, but you can enter ideas. You can come in here and you can look at ideas that have been submitted. These are the different categories, and you can go in and vote. So once something gets more votes, it's gonna be pushed up on the priority list. So you could come search the ideas that may have already been suggested, Bonnie, and then vote it up so that it adds to their priority list. So we could see, like, I've voted for 4 different things. I need to get in here and vote for more. But
So, Jill, I have 2 basic questions. You can only enter contacts one at a time, or is there some way to enter multiple contacts?
so if you have a database, if you have an Excel spreadsheet, there's a couple things. You can upload it yourself. You can import it yourself. Our vendor partner, Scott Leroy, you can reach them. The email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. You can send them your database and they will import it for you for free. And that's a great tool. But where you do that, let me show you, is right here. I clicked on the main contacts button, and I'm going to click on this imports button. And there's a CSV file right here. And I suggest you download it because it'll work much easier. You put your contacts in the CSV file, and then you just put it in here and you hit go, and it'll upload them. Sometimes it worked great with a huge database. Sometimes people will have to break it down in smaller chunks and maybe just upload like 15 or 20 at a time. And I'm talking over the last couple of years as command's been growing. At one point it worked fantastic for hundreds. At one point we had to do it by small groups. I'm not exactly sure where it's at right now. It may import huge groups right now.
Okay.
Scott Leroy will do it for free for you.
And then the last question I had was, if I enter a contact, but some other agent has that same person as the contact, what happens then?
Each agent's contacts don't talk to each other.
Okay.
So your contacts are your contacts.
Okay.
Hey Jill, I have a quick question.
When I said you could only put the primary address in once, that was meaning in yours.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Absolutely. Someone else had a question.
Yes, ma'am. When you do, when you like set up one of those monthly nurture or neighborhood nurtures, if your contact has, if you added like a secondary email, like for a spouse or something, would the spouse also get like the monthly email, or is it just the primary contact?
Just the primary. So let me show you that. I've got some on here. So my husband and my boys are my example. So here's my, and if you scroll down to the bottom of his contact, wait, I had him connected. Okay, maybe not. Let me go back. So here you can see relationships. So brother, father, cousin. And then I can go straight to this contact from that contact. So that's kind of nice to be able to click straight between them. And I don't know what's going on, but it's weird because now Max doesn't have any. That's so weird. They must be working on it tonight, you guys. But what you can do to add people to smart plans, you know, kind of with like computers, there's always 4 ways to get to one place, right? So maybe I want to add all of these people. I can click the whole list. I have 50 people selected. I can do bulk action. Wait. I can add to a smart plan. And I can pick which smart plan I want to add these 50 people to. So I can hit birthday. When do these are them. And maybe I want to say, ooh, I didn't mean to send it to him. I can hit confirm. So now all those people have been added to my birthday smart plan. Okay, so I can click that off. I can go to my smart plan and we should now see, where's my birthday smart plan? It should show that there's 50 people in there. It's on slow-mo or something, you guys, but you can see right here, what it should show is 50 people right here. And if I click this eyeball, it shows me who everybody is that's on this smart plan. So I just showed you how to do a bulk add to a smart plan. I also showed you how to do it from the contact card. The third way that you can add people to a smart plan is straight here, smart plans. Look at your list and you can hit the add contact as the people. And it's going to pull up different people. I can do it by tags also. So remember I had that soccer tag. I can go find that soccer tag and it's going to pull everybody that's got a soccer tag, and I can hit select all and I can hit add to smart plan.
Jill, so when you want to remove somebody from there, how do you do that? If you've added the smart plan, you want to remove them from the smart plan, how do you do that?
So I can do it easy, different ways. I can go here and open this and I can select and I can hit unsubscribe, or I can unsubscribe all. That's one way. The other way is to go into the contact card. I can go here. I can go to smart plan here. I can see that he's on a smart plan. I can hit the trash can. Yes, remove.
If you made an error with the 50 people, you want to remove those 50 people from the smart plan. Do you have to do them one at a time? You can't just do bulk like you did to add them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if it's a bulk. I don't think there's a bulk remove here, but the bulk remove would be, okay. So you can't do it from here. The bulk remove is here on the smart plan, and you click on the eyeball it'll bring
Mhm.
up everybody that's on the smart
Oh,
plan. So that one,
okay.
if
Very
there's
good.
50 people here, I would hit select all,
Select, very good.
or I would
Okay.
hit unsubscribe all.
Okay.
So
Very
if I
good,
made a
thanks.
mistake, that's where it's at.
Right. Okay, very good.
Jill, I have a question. This is from the neighborhood link.
Yeah.
I don't see that we have the option to put in a price point when we send that out. So when they click on the link and they add a filter for bed, bath, price point, or whatever the case may be, is that a hard save or they have to always go in and refilter?
So that one that I showed you is just neighborhoods that you're saving. So I think, and the last time I tried to do this, they were still working on it. It wasn't great. You can do saved searches right here. And you can create a saved search. And this is where you can set prices and bedrooms and all of that. So that's different. And then this will tie into that. Does that make sense? And when they go in here, there are filters right here that
Right.
they can set the filters.
If they filter there, will it save for each time they go back in, or each time they have to go back and refilter it?
I think they have to refilter it.
Okay.
But right now there's not very much inventory. So as you can see, there's only a few houses.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys, it is 9 o'clock and Cece and I have had a very long day and I'm sure you all have too. So we will see you on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And I will be available to answer questions and stuff. And I'm always available. I'll give you guys my email on Saturday, okay?
So let me ask you really quick with the material that I have to download, will it be sent to me every day or how does that work?
No, here, let me show you
For
real
each
quick where
class.
you can find it.
Okay.
You're gonna need your KW username. You go to kwconnect.com. And then you're gonna go to training. And then you go to KWU. And then you click on Ignite. And if you scroll down, there's a button that says Student Resources. Click on that. And this opens up everything for the sessions. So Saturday's session, you want to do the manual and you want to make sure you do US because Canada's in French. This one's French, I think. That one's. So you want to click that and it's a PDF and that's it right there.
Okay, thank you.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Have a good night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging in with us. We sure enjoyed you. Can't wait to see you Saturday, okay?
Night.
Somebody said something.
They're gone.
Okay, good.
Let me save this. And then I'll just leave that here. So I'll send it to myself when we get out of here. I don't know where that music was coming from.
That's so strange.
Like, let me see if it's still on there. And maybe there's something else on my iPad that's.
Heavy metal too. It wasn't just.
It's gone. Somebody had it playing.
Somebody had it playing. But what's weird. Get a lot out of that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this here till tomorrow.
See, leave.